live.
So there are many differences. The Obama deal gave them over $1 billion of American money. This deal gives them $0 of American money.
Wanna go for a ride?
Well, how is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? Anything new today? It is indeed Monday, June 22nd, 2026, and we bring to you on this fine evening, I believe we got episode 214 of Hold the Line. Hold the lines, as we have been doing for many years throughout here. And let me bring in Mr. Mac, and then we can get all excited together. But what's going on, brother? How was your week? And anything new today, dude? Because I don't know if there's any posts out there just shaking up the world, or at least our world. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Today we got a big surprise, as some would say. Q is for quantum. And we got some serious posts about Q and quantum. So looking forward to getting into that. The video that you saw in the intro, tons of zero comms, as you can tell. And I think with the little decode in there, we're coming up on a 0 day, which is the midterms.
Ooh,
and Q's mentioned it. Yeah, narrative, kill date, but election day +1, prepare for 0 day. So one of the cards that he has is he can declare a national emergency, and I showed it there on the decode. The fourth is a continuation of electoral process and observances. So that would be tallying of votes. And then if we move on, it says, President Trump can declare a national emergency.
Which we're always in, right? We pretty much always are in a national emergency, aren't we?
Yeah, it seems like we've got several national emergencies going on. I'm not sure when they begin, when they end. But yeah, I would say you're right. Some people even say we're still on a ongoing war against terror, for one. Yeah, so there's a lot of unconfirmed theories on what state we're in. But if we are in an emergency like that, we already knew that CISA, which is Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, they surveil the elections And since 2020, Space Force has been helping surveil with CISA.
Yep.
And the FBI actually is the ones that do the arresting and investigating thereafter. Now, we had a good comm from Kash Patel about a day ago. It's not in the video, unfortunately, because it didn't have zero. But they are cracking down on the homeless fraud in California, where, they basically paid homeless people to vote, I think, is the trail they're on.
Oh, yeah.
And I will try to find that post real quick. But there was one other thing in there that in that little decode was the Insurrection Act can happen. It was in that decode part. You want to go backwards?
Back here. All right.
Yeah, right at the bottom or in the middle there. Yep, right there. Go back. Yeah, so violence, rebellion obstructs the execution of federal law. He can invoke the Insurrection Act. Now, there's the presidential alert system that we all have been following, the EBS, and that would play a part into this, which is very interesting. And we had confirmations, I think, at least a month ago, that there are some new systems going into place. And then today, with the interoperability, we'll call it, between the private sector and the government sector and sharing of information. Well, today we had the big comms from the White House about Q, and
you don't say.
Yeah, and they had fun with it. We had fun with it. As we followed Q drops, Q can mean many things. There's more than one answer. That's exactly what quantum is. So when you do math problems in quantum, there can be multiple answers. So I've always thought Q was part of quantum.
Yes.
And today we got that confirmation. I think a lot of other people have had that theory and thought, but in research wise, we got it today. And then if you scroll down, I think it was like 40 some lines. I didn't count. I was just like, someone else will do it. So Q, we mean quantum, and then stay tuned. So I'll leave it there, and we can talk about all kinds of stuff.
Dude, there's so much to get into in this. It's like, yeah, they came out and they kind of did the whole, plausible deniability thing in the beginning here. Because like when you look at the very top one at first, it's like, okay, the White House will be Q posting today. It's like, oh, okay. And then it's like you go down to the bottom and it says, well, by that we mean quantum. Okay. So let's pull the White House back up. Apparently there's a different search on here than this one. So as we go throughout the day, we started getting other interesting little posts. And of course, we got the team algae, which, by the way, Trump's making it up. There's nobody out there that is pro algae, guys. There's nobody out there that's trying to. Dude, did you happen to see that video? The lady's dressed up and she's mocking the National Guardsmen, saying, oh, yeah, you're wasting money. We're staring at algae, staring at stupid algae. And I'm like, oh, God, the short-sightedness of this woman. It's like, yeah, if you and your idiot friends were in there trying to destroy the place, you wouldn't need to pay people to friggin' monitor the algae. I mean, it's so disgusting. It's so beyond disgusting.
Well, they're just paid actors, and they wouldn't get any publicity. If the media or social media wouldn't cover it, then there would be no point in talking about the green algae team or whatever it's called.
The green algae team, yeah. The GATs, yeah, they're definitely very interesting. But yeah, dude, to me, this thing was just was definitely a breath of fresh air, right, to see. And then we had other things that actually it went into. So as we kind of go down here, next frontier of quantum innovation. We had one of them, and I have a few of these actually to go through, whereas we also had this today I thought was pretty interesting to kind of go along with it. So the Department of War CTO is also posting out, are you enjoying the show? Refill your popcorn. You'll love this next part. American, Q in parentheses, quantum dominance. Okay, well, Well, where do we go there? All right, well, we go to 1224. It's the simplest thing you can do, right? 1224, you go over to 1224, and we're looking for anything to do with the show or popcorn, or you'll love this next part. I wonder. All right, nothing here. Maggie, and remember Maggie Haberman, she just did write a story just the other day we covered on Saturday, so she's still on the train, unfortunately. It ends with enjoy the show. So I thought that was interesting that one ended with enjoy the show, and then this one at the same time post happens to start with are you enjoying the show? Refill your popcorn. You'll love this part. So, dude, this has been getting, they're teeter-tottering on that line of like, I don't know that it's enough that they can go out and ask, President Trump about this, because then he can just say, well, we're talking about quantum. Well, we're talking about quantum.
We haven't gotten to the good one yet, but popcorn has been a big reference, and with Q, grab your popcorn. So we've all, if you've been paying attention to Department of War, the White House, their social media accounts have been very Q-ish, and they've been subtle at times, but they're getting more and more obvious. And today was the breakthrough, I think.
Oh yeah, and just really quickly too, dude. So and I've never seen this before, so I don't know, and I didn't see what your response was to it. But I had never seen.
Real quick on that picture, notice that the atom in the background with the nucleus, that's also the trophy of FIFA, and it also is the international symbol for quantum and atomic. So
really. And dude,
and we'll get into, we got to get into it. Alice in Wonderland. I figured out a meaning. I figured out a meaning for that, and this is all. There's so many coincidences in the Q posts that hint at quantum. It's incredible, even how the Q posts kind of are set up. So, what were you going to get into here?
And
your next thing.
And this is, well, I just want to kind of piggyback on this, and I got one more for that first one. But again, I'd never seen anything like this before, dude, and I sent you the link. I don't know if you got to try it on Chrome, but when I go on my Safari, because I usually do most of my show prep on my phone, but like Safari sets this up and it goes for 1224. On the app itself, it goes 1224, and I took a screenshot of it just to show people that, like, I'm like, wait, what the hell is going on here? I've never seen this before, and I tagged Stormy Joe and Tron as well. When I put it into Chrome on my phone here, as you can see, it shows me 424 timestamp. I just never seen that.
Your time zone in Chrome may be set not to Eastern time. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Let me see. Let me check any other post, because that very well could be true. That would be weird though for me to only notice it once right now.
Definitely strange though.
Let me see here. All right, I'm checking it literally real time here. We got this post coming up at 1:47 p.m. and then if I go into my app, it's coming up at, doesn't want to show me for whatever reason. Yeah, something's really screwed up with my freaking Chrome app. It's showing 9:47 in the morning. The hell's up with my ish? All right, so disregard this one. How has that happened, dude? But there is a lot more fun to be had with some of these stuff, dude. Some of these things as well. Let's see. Which one did you want to go to next? Did you want to pull on to Mr. Pulte first, actually, this one I wanted to touch on just because it was the first one, and you mentioned, for anybody that wants to, do the math and look into any of these things, the guy that runs QAG says, how the 126 lines, 65 lines, VS15, then new line, then the line's only content is the invisible VS15. 58 lines empty, just a new line, nothing on the line. So I don't know if this is anything, if this can help anybody kind of go any further with it, but, there's some more information on there. And yeah, the VCA, isn't that something to do with the VC20? The VS is very similar to the Air Force One VC that this guy is saying, but they also keep mislabeling them. Remember they did it last week, 2,500 or whatever. It was supposed to be 25,000, something along those lines. So interestingly enough,
this is all gibberish to me. I don't know what that stuff means. I haven't looked into it. So
yeah, apparently,
but the lines were That's what I was doing, and it looked like there was a portion or two where it had a return plus a space. So,
It's
there
just
could be
weird.
a code. So if you took your cursor from the first blank spot and scrolled all the way down to where the next lettering is, you'll see that it's not all just return spaces, return keys. There's like one or two that have a space or some sort of character that's invisible. And I don't know. I'd have to do some serious digging in on that.
I
But
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, this is
yeah,
just for anybody who likes to take, I know you usually like to go
patterns.
yeah, you see patterns and things like that and go a little bit deeper. But so we talked about it a little while ago, right? Like, all right, well, he's posting Q and they're posting, oh wait, it's quantum. But then they come out with this, bro. Dude, I don't even know what to do at this point. It's like,
I
oh wait.
laughed. I thought it was great.
It's like, what are we supposed to say here at this point, dude? Because clearly, that, besides the trip code, I don't see a trip code, but that's heavily shading towards looking like a Q post.
Oh, there was an activation code and Ronald McDonald and all kind. It just started getting Cody, as you would say. So I don't know. I don't know what posts you have to show everyone, but it's pretty
Oh,
funny.
I know my buddy Tron posted that out, the activation one from Dan Scavino. So we'll go here first, and then we'll go back to it. Yes, James, 11 months ago. So remember, this is something Tron found. This is from September of 2025. It says, yes, James, 11 months ago, we were working at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania with the president. What a journey. So that's just one thing there. Oh, actually, I need to go back here this way. Activation code Ronald McDonald. Remember the day before the election? Elon drops a Q. What a journey. Was really hoping for a Ronald McDonald activated thing like Mangione. I mean, dude, and you'd be surprised. Sometimes they actually, do respond in kind, for us out there. And where is and who is Bobby Levy anyways, dude? Do we know who this guy is?
Yeah, I have the post here.
Who is
Hold
that
on a
guy though?
second. He is the deputy war room director.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
So he's somebody.
here's his information. Yeah, he's somebody. Activation word. I don't know why I said word because it's two words, but he says Ronald McDonald. And then later he posts check him.
I gotta make sure I'm following this dude here. All right, which is yeah, check him. So I got this one here. I got the check him one coming in. Ding ding ding. You had a different one than check him as well?
The one where he said activation code or activation word Ronald. It's at the bottom of the chat. So
I got you, buddy. I got you. But what are you I got you right here. What are you reading from this? From check? So
yeah, I don't know. That one kind of confused me. I looked it up, and the best thing I got with quantum was checksum, which is a small block of data derived from a larger digital data set, serving as a digital fingerprint to verify data integrity and detect errors during transmission of storage. So it goes on. I don't want to bore you with all of it. But it is a post that I have on my social media, so you can read all about it. It evolves into quantum error correction. So that's the basic thing, and that is very interesting because then it would be the kind of the counter intel against the intel. Its own kind of system to checkpoint itself. Yeah. So I'm curious.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm very curious. And just again, to Mac's point, Deputy War Room Director, White House Deputy War Room Director, and he's out here posting, activation word Ronald McDonald. We'll soon understand.
So remember, Elon posted that. So that's the screenshot right there. The ripcord put.
What's that?
Now, think about Starlink and his being able to work with Space Force and the government in order to put up satellites, and those, microsatellites serve multiple functions, and I've always thought that that's part of the new quantum network, and it would probably be upgraded along the way, and I think they have, to the point where now it's part of our system. I mean, you wouldn't come out and say it's activated unless it's been set up in the past, and somehow we're working off this type of system, but one can only guess. We know that the EOs that were signed today were integral because they included the Quantum Initiative Act, which was signed back in 2018. So it builds off of that, and inside of that, there's actually counterintelligence, as it says, and setting up like a committee to make sure that quantum, I think, and AI probably go the right way.
I'm gonna start doing it here again. Yeah, let's see. Since you brought this one up, let's see what my computer wants to do today. If it wants to do this funny thing, but this is what you just brought up. Here you go. They actually just signed it today. Dude, I'm telling you, this thing is freaking.
Even though nobody's ever done one. Quantum technologies represents the next generation of innovation across computing, sensing, and networking with enormous significance for our country's economic growth, scientific research, and cyber security. It's really a big deal that we're doing today, and the country is doing really well, as you know. In 2018, I signed the National Quantum Initiative Act into law, which led to doubling the federal government investment in quantum research and development. I think you all know about that. That helped unleash billions of dollars of private investment in America's quantum industrial base, promoting significant scientific and technological progress like we've never seen before, actually. We want to keep that positive momentum going in America with the orders that I'm signing today, and these will really have place it a big step forward. We're already the leader by a lot, and we're going to be now the leader by a lot more. With the first executive order launches a national effort to produce a quantum computer capable of performing important scientific calculations and to develop quantum-enabled sensors and networks in the next 5 years. And we're going to be investing in American quantum leadership like never before to stay ahead of the pack. We're way ahead right now. We'll keep it that way. The second order I'm signing directs federal agency to transition to what is called quantum cryptography. Do anybody know what that is?
Cryptography?
You're going to hear very soon, so you're going to find it interesting. Cryptography for their computer systems by 2031, and to lead the way for wider adoption of these extremely strong security standards. America is celebrating 250 years of ingenuity, innovation, and invention this year, and today's commitments to quantum leadership will help secure that legacy for decades to come. I just want to say before we introduce the
Yeah. Cryptography. I like that one, too. That's a new way to say it, I guess. Cryptography? I mean, you figured maybe they put a couple hyphens in the speech form in the right spot.
I think you did that on purpose, just to act like you didn't know what he was doing. He's probably well informed. I think in part of this interview, he's like, "Did you ever hear about my uncle by any chance and what he did?" He was playing with a reporter, so I think he's fully aware of what's going on. He has to take a certain stance, just like in politics when he's talking about another politician, and let it roll out and let people absorb it. And this is very interesting because Q's mentioned Alice in Wonderland. If you want to go through that quickly.
Take your time. I got a bunch of pictures. You want to just tell me which one to go?
It's right at the bottom of the chat. It's actually basically an author. If you want to pull it up, you just let me know.
Absolutely. Let me see. Well, I have all these. You want me to start with the Alice and the connection between that one?
Yeah, it just Alice in Wonderland was always mentioned in Q Post. We thought it could be underground tunnels, underground data centers, and it could be. As we said, there could be multiple meetings. But I did find Alice in Quantum Land, which is Alice enters a subatomic wonderland to explore phenomena like superposition, entanglement, and wave particle duality through whimsical scenarios. There's quantum Cheshire Cat, Alice and Bob. There are standard placeholders in quantum cryptography and communication protocols, like quantum key distribution, representing the sender and receiver, anthropomorphizing abstract data exchange. Ultimately, the rabbit hole serves as a metaphor from the shift from classical physics to quantum computing, where logic defies common sense and probabilities replace certainties.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's what quantum is based on, a lot of probability. And Q mentions this. Everything has meaning, and you'll soon understand the meaning behind Alice and Wonderland. So I think we just got that confirmation today, which is pretty cool.
Oh, dude, definitely. I think I copied that one twice there. But yeah, dude, talking about the different servers, and then throughout the years, we've had, what was it, like Corona offline. There were different ones that were offline, and who knows.
A lot of those were about satellites, I believe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, where is this? This decode was pretty crazy today, and it points straight to what you're talking about in his speech. What is it?
I'm
Right
actually
here.
looking for this because I want to show you. You're gonna like this one.
And it wasn't hard to follow at all, but it was Department of War basically quoting a Q post again. But if you look up the Q post, that correlates, it points to that Trump speech that we've always talked about. So I'll let you get through this, and then we can come back to the other thing.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to bring this one up because it also talked about,
And Snow White was like supercomputers, weren't they?
Yeah, so, as we're going here, expand your thinking. Plan 3, moves and counter moves, strategy, warfare. This week will be revealing Snow White 1, 2, and 5 offline. 7th floor is no more. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean big things aren't happening. Night Riders fly. 2018 will be glorious. Oh God, I should have went back there. So basically what I had in here was a bunch of these different ones talking about Corona and offline. And yeah, dude, they use a lot of...
I gotcha. So I looked it up on AI real quick.
Sure.
And Snow White refers to a set of CIA supercomputers, not satellites. According to conspiracy theories and online discussions, the Snow White systems are described as CIA super mainframe computers that served as the 7 dwarfs. In contrast, the Corona systems are identified in these same narratives as the CIA spy satellites. Snow White CIA supercomputers, Corona CIA satellites. Big Bird also referenced in these theories as an offline satellite system. These designations originate from Q. So that's what the community decoded them as.
Yeah, so it's and what was this? This was 2018 in August 30th. Just so I don't have to pull up each individual one. Every one of these looks like it was. I'll pull one of them up here just so you can see. So basically, they allegedly, anyways, removed them all. So as you see here, Snow White 4 now offline. Snow White 6 now offline. 7 offline. Package complete. Have a nice day. So, dude, I mean, this was such a huge undertaking. Not only did you have to remove the bad actors, but they also had, supercomputers and other crazy satellites and things that they were doing to essentially use every tool they had to take on President Trump. But I'm still wondering, dude, to this day, what does he have that the rest of the world doesn't have? Because I feel like he has something like a leg up on something on the rest of the world. And I don't think it's just blackmail. Like, I think he either has some sort of technology or some sort of weapon that nobody else will even want to screw with. That's just my personal guess. I don't know.
Well, I think it could be a couple different things. Q could be an AI program as well. We all know, and I've said it many times before, it becomes public. It's always behind the scenes with the government and the military.
Yeah.
So with this, we've gotten hints that the enemy knew that no matter at certain point, no matter how they moved, what was the guy's name that said this? That they had nowhere else to run. And didn't he hint at some sort of way to see into the future?
Looking
Was it
glass.
looking glass? Well, yeah. So looking glass, you can take it for what it is. Could be a supercomputer like the movie War Games, where it's able to predict and use different percentages to figure out the outcomes of making certain actions. I think also this plays into why they want all our data so they can study how people react to that. It goes into that equation of war games. Um, so did they figure this out a long time ago and knew how it was going to play out? It just, you can interchange the characters along the way in the timeline. So I don't know. I think Trump does have some foreknowledge of stuff. Now, he always mentions his uncle. Once you unlock a portion of quantum, you have the ability to unlock it all. So that includes teleportation, anti-gravity, all that good stuff. Even more, stuff that we probably couldn't fathom. Um, right now, we currently, I think, have quantum computing and quantum communication in place that we know of, and we know that the quantum communication is in place because we found that soldier when he crashed his plane.
Ooh, the quantum heartbeat thing, right?
Yes. So quantum communication is instantaneous. There is no lag. So think about distances, the moon, Mars, all that stuff. It would be instantaneous.
Ooh, what's that called? It's quantum entanglement?
Entanglement and superposition, I believe.
So they're basically saying if something is entangled with something, you could move that other thing anywhere, right? Like a million miles away. And the second that you turn, like let's just say like you turn an atom or something like that, the other atom that it's entangled with, regardless of distance, will also do the same maneuver. Am I getting that right?
Yes, that is what it is saying. Yep. And
Crazy,
with
dude.
computers, we've traditionally worked off bytes. We're now going to work off qubits. So ones and zeros now become a lot more. I was trying to get an easier example in my head. The best way I can remember is that a qubit allows for, instead of, let's see, so a byte can include four possibilities. A qubit is four, but there's two there. So I think it's 2 to the 8th possibilities in one. So we're talking about a calculation jump and a processing jump that will solve a lot of problems faster. And so that is one aspect. So that the math works out. So it's a real thing. Now, how it applies, our brains are like really like quantum computers, but much more complex. We're able to do things quantumly, and behind this all, I think, is consciousness is what the real high technology is all about. And the stuff with like the men that stare at goats and trying telepathy and stuff like that has been real hush hush, and they consider it conspiracy theories. That's really been stuff that they've been interested in the background because they found what's non-human technology that is either ancient or new that functions off of consciousness. So you want, yeah. So Elon is probably taking that and using his little microchip in the brain, and after he's got some clearance, so he's probably doing stuff in the background, and he's using that as an excuse to test out the consciousness and how the brain works. Being able to, it's really interesting stuff, obviously.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely, it is, dude.
But the the technology that's probably there that we're not allowed to play around with, or we get arrested or offed. That's why probably I didn't pursue it. Um, is why it's really tight-lipped, and it's been around for a while. And I don't know what's the story behind it, but there's definitely entities, and it seems like it's pointing at the CIA for not wanting to disclose this information. So,
all secrets. All secrets
and
aside.
there's, and you just trail the history of CIA, and you wonder, does it even originate prior to that? And the answer is yes. And you follow that trail, and you can kind of run into Nazi Germany and their research into the bell and anti-gravity and all that stuff. So this technology trail is something that's been spanning centuries probably, and trying to figure out what this is all about, because we have symbolism of it being even further back, right? Testimonies, it's an art and all that stuff. So I can't wait to see what it all unveils.
Dude, yeah, and I gotta read this, dude. I don't know if you heard me. I wasn't laughing at anything you were saying. I was laughing at a super chat that twisted. I can't even.
No, not at all.
Twisted Clown on YouTube sent over a $5 super chat. He says, "Love it. We're teasing them, like giving them the tip before the deep state gets effed." So thank you for that. And yeah, I mean, it is. They're like teasing them. And just as I'm reading that, thank you, Red Pill 78, who just rated us over here. So I appreciate that, brother. And I'm sure he's enjoying the teasing that that President Trump and the administration is doing to the deep staters right now, because this
and
is
even
just
the black
crazy.
pillars. It's hilarious, And this is such great confirmation. Quantum mode activated by the Department of Energy, and then we know that Q clearance falls under Department of Energy, who controls AI and who controls quantum or oversees it. The Department of Energy, and we know we have new fusion reactors coming. That functions on a different type of science. So we're getting ourselves ready for this. And I've been, as I've said before, I've been following a lot of the interviews of people recently, Eric Weinstein being one of them. And he talks about, being a top physicist, and he finds it hard to believe that there's physics out there that's outside of what he knows or what Einstein knows. And he never seems to really get into the quantum side, which to me is interesting. I don't know if that's because he doesn't know or he's staying away from it for his personal safety, but he's a guy that knows what's going on, because he says what ties Epstein to the atomic bomb will tie to Los Alamos and Area 51, I believe. And so all this stuff is intertwined when the deep state's, obviously in the background of this. So we're getting there.
Oh, dude, we are getting there. And, I feel like to a certain extent, this is a little bit of repeats are necessary. I don't know if I'm probably not saying that the right way, but like they put this information out, right? And then a lot of people kind of poo-pooed it for a while. And then it was like, oh, it's about, adrenochrome and drinking blood, which again, go ahead and look for the word adrenochrome in there. You're not going to find it. And drinking blood, I think it was referenced at one point, but it was never talked about like they say it is all about. But I think when they kind of bring this back out and show people like, wait, the government organizations keep posting this stuff out, then more and more people are going to start to look at it. And then to your point, on this one right here, Department of Energy, quantum mode activated. Oh, what is Q clearance? What hint does that explicitly refer to? Department of Energy? Who would have the goods on uranium-1? Does stating Q refer that person worked for the DOE? No. Does it refer to someone dropping such information has the highest level of security within all departments? Why is that relevant? Russia would be viewed as a friendly partner under Section 123 of the Atomic Energy Act of 1954 after agreeing to a new nuclear weapons reduction deal and helping U.S. with Iran. Who is the enemy? What is continually being stated by all Democrats? Russia is what? What did the Russia reset really provide? Clearance pathway to complete the uranium-1 deal? Why is the Canadian Prime Minister so important? Oh, uranium-1 deal? They never thought they were going to lose. The calm before the storm. And dude, all this stuff is not going away. We even had the Clinton Foundation whistleblowers last week are saying that essentially the things that they put out, in the last, I don't even know, in the last couple of weeks are still basically pertinent and germane to the current times right now. So I think that's interesting. I think it's coming up like right here. And what a great UFC event, dude. I could talk about that for hours. As much I know you guys don't want to hear about it anymore, but this is back on the 13th, so 9 days ago. He says, in regards to the Clinton Foundation, my thread from March of 25 remains timely and current. Video and Clinton Foundation whistleblower, whiteboard, and more. So, guys, the public has a right to know regarding the biggest scam ever, so we can pursue real accountability and save America. And so, dude, I think, while all the stuff with Crossfire Hurricane and stuff that they did to him, they absolutely need to make an example out of. I think the real target and a lot of this stuff is going to be that heavy dealing of this stuff, uranium, that they did. And, they put it through the CFIUS board, but where it went after that and the people that were involved, not good at all. So I think there's going to be some hell to pay in some of these people. If they haven't paid it already, I don't know. Dude,
and essentially, if it all holds true, Iran was holding the world hostage with that, or that at least the Middle East,
yes.
And essentially the world with the oil trade and stuff. So it makes really good sense in that aspect. Yeah, I looked at some of the old decodes today. The Quantum Initiative Advisory Committee, and then there was another one with the Quantum Financial System. I think we'll eventually get to some sort of that if it's not already in place. We know that it's functioning a lot faster, and it's probably operating off a blockchain. Blockchain's part of the quantum mechanics. So it's very interesting, all of this, how it's all I think it all correlates together. The quantum system would then be a loophole around the deep state's old system that they've never updated, and Trump's proving that it's corrupt. And I think that it was leaking like a sieve. We knew we had the Hillary Clinton servers that she destroyed her email. All these national security unanswered possible crimes. And I think through this, we are showing, Trump and team is showing that we're going to put in a system that holds people accountable in every which way. So I'm looking forward to this. Yeah. It's great. We'll be our own banks. I mean, this is not good for banks either. If we're able to, we're not accountable to a middleman. I think today Trump announced that the sanctioned money is going to be opened up, and he's going to use American farmers to send Iran food with that unsanctioned money. So, we're being a lot more creative than we have in the past, and we're showing the world how true leadership should have ran and should have been operating. I think Trump was our last resort. I think he's mentioned that in his interviews in the past, but this is how bad it's gotten.
Oh, it's been so bad, dude. I was gonna do a couple of, we're obviously sticking on this stuff, but I wanted to take a minute or two to do a couple of deaths today in the last couple of days. And Debbie Roush had sent one of these over to me. I knew about the other one, but do you see this one?
Yeah.
Apparently, Clive Davis. I only got two, so if you know any more than the next one I'm about to drop in a minute, then let me know. But Diddy's mentor and music mogul Clive Davis has been announced dead at the age of 94. Clive Davis trained Diddy, which in turn allowed him to groom artists like Usher and Justin Bieber for power and control. Some people have suggested that it was Clive Davis, who used his connections to seize blackmail tapes that Diddy had on very powerful people. Just like the real Epstein files, the Diddy tapes have all but disappeared. I don't think they have, dude. I really don't think they have. But, dude, this dude, he just kept going a system of, I guess, debauchery is the best way I could say. Like, oh, you wanna, be a rapper? Well, I'm gonna see 20 or 30 rappers that are great today. What are you willing to do for it? And we know for sure this stuff has been pay for play for years. So anything else you want to put out on Mr. Clive Davis before I switch to?
He's just an evil person from what Lisa, she would inform me of this guy. He's a bad person all
dude.
around. Yeah.
Well, interestingly, out of the Jerusalem Post comes this today. Was it today or yesterday? I don't know. Alan Greenspan, Jewish economist, longtime head of the Federal Reserve, dies at 100. Alan passed away at our home this morning at the age of 100 from complications of Parkinson's, Mitchell said in a statement. They always say he was one of the best Federal Reserve dudes, but again, that's in a system that we now know is completely corrupt and never had the American people's wants, needs, and desires at the forefront. They are all just about keeping themselves rich and keeping the wealthy and the poor, essentially.
Yeah.
Any more notable deaths that I didn't know of today?
No, I think you got it. Those are the ones that I noted.
A couple big heavy players for sure. All right, so where should we go? Do we want to touch on any more? We did the quantum. Dude, actually, you know what? With as much as I know, I'm probably gonna have to cut some of this out, dude. I thought this was really cool. A.R. Jeremiah had put this out. This was pretty cool, dude. I have to give him a little hat tip here. I thought this was. Let me see if it's playing. Yeah, let me jack this up a little bit here. I thought this was really good. So he took the blacklist and he made a couple little edits to it. So
I'm here to tell you a story. I'm sure you recognize many of the faces behind me. They are among the most powerful men and women on the planet. They are also part of a global conspiracy, a shadow organization that spans across every continent and has for the last 3 decades, consisting of leaders in world government and the private sector. Some call this group the Cabal. The world you live in is the world they want you to think you live in. They start wars, create chaos, and when it suits them, they resolve it. Cabal members will move more money in the next quarter than the World Bank will in the next year. Their alliance affects sea change in every aspect of human life. The value and distribution of commodities, money, weapons, water, fuel, the food we eat to live, the information we rely on to tell us who we are.
What exactly do you expect us to do with this information?
Study it, investigate it to determine the truth, and then report it. Let me be clear. Investigating this group will immediately position you as a threat. If you do what I'm asking, you will be putting your lives and the lives of those you love at grave risk. In the end, the truth will out. Not all of us will live to see that day, but the truth will out.
The storm is upon us.
boom. That was a cool little ding. I know I'll have to cut that one out of YouTube later on, but
I'm here to tell you a story.
But very well done, and that does paint a good picture, dude. And you know, that opening from Blacklist, or that segment from Blacklist, it really does tell a story about how deeply entrenched these people are. And for us, and you know, especially me, to sit there in, you know, April and May of 2018 looking around going, where the hell are the arrests? I can't believe these guys aren't all arrested by now. Well, yeah, we've all seen movies like the Patriot Games and things like that. You know, Mac, do you think that's something that's in play where, you know, it got to the point where, you know, hey, if you take us down, you know, we might just, you know, nuke half of the country, or we'll set off a nuke someplace if you expose us? Because I, you know, remember during, you know, whatever that thing was.
I think Q alluded to that, right?
Yeah, and so, you know, like while we were dealing with whatever that middle administration was there, remember we had a lot of those nuclear sniffer planes around, like especially around Mar-a-Lago area, but we noticed that they were doing a lot of passes, and I wonder if they were looking for some of this stuff that would essentially be used as blackmail, you know? And my thing was always like, all right, let's just say Herbert Walker Bush. We'll say he's the main bad guy. And if you're talking about like, hey, we're about to get you guys, and he's like, well, listen, if you do this, then we're going to essentially nuke half the country or half the world or whatever. And my thing is like, why wouldn't you just come out with it then? All right, hey, if this happens, you know it was this guy. You know, we had him on this, and this, but now he's going to add in nuking the rest of the world to this. You know what I mean? Just put him on blast, but I'm sure they have fail-safes for that as well. So what I'm talking about here is a deeply entrenched cabal, as this guy called it, the deep state, whatever you guys want to call it, a very close-knit group of people that want to see themselves succeed. And for us, you know, the cockroaches, they do not care about us, period. Simple, what do they call it? Stupid men, you know, used to go on the battlefield and die, essentially. So a very deeply well-orchestrated cabal is what President Trump and whoever is on his side now is or was up against. And it was an absolutely monumental task. And again, dude, I don't know who asked President Trump exactly. I don't know what he has, but I do believe he has something, whether it's a weapon or technology, that is far above anything anybody else has, because he doesn't seem to be concerned in any way, shape, or form about backlash, or he never seems to be stressed to me. You know what I mean? Never seems to be out of sorts for me. So, I don't know. Where we want to go next, brother? What do we want to hit next?
What do you got on the docket? I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff we can talk about.
Well, I got most.
You want to talk? I thought surprisingly, Matt Gaetz brought up a good point. Where's Joseph Mifsud? Do you have that clip?
Oh, actually, yeah, I think I do, from yesterday. Yeah, Gaetz and Mifsud, and again, dude. And where did he end up going? Was this the one that was
Italy? He was a professor in Italy, and I believe he was a British spy.
Here, I'm trying to find Mr. Gaetz.
He's a Maltese-British academic who became a central figure in the U.S. investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election after telling Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos that Russia possessed damaging information on Hillary Clinton. In Italy, he served as a visiting professor at Link Campus University in Rome, an institution with reported ties to Italian intelligence, and assisted in its founding in 1999 alongside former Italian Interior Minister Vincenzo Scotti. And since late 2017, he's disappeared. Now, notice Italy's involved. And is there a little spat going on now with President Trump in Italy? Yes. Remember the prime minister? Yeah, he's called him out.
Oh, shnikes.
And remember the whole Vatican spa satellite thing that we've still gotten full confirmation on yet, but essentially Space Force caught them manipulating the elections through the Vatican spa satellite.
Leonardo.
Via the Leonardo spa satellite. Exactly. Via the Italian government. So now that we've kind of got Iran under the way, Italy would be, that if we collect that uranium, and it identifies obviously probably to the Clintons and Obama, then we have the election stuff with Italy, and what's going on there. I don't know, where we are with that, but it brought that to mind.
Yeah, let's see what Mr.
There we go.
Mr. Gaetz has to say. Let me get it back to the beginning here.
I had a recent conversation with CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and I like John, but I chastised him for...
Yeah, and traditionally it's been Britain and France who play that role.
Huge intel presence in Italy as well.
Ooh.
Huge, dude. And that link... Apparently that Link campus essentially is like a huge friggin' intelligence, place where they all link up. Link, get it? But that is known to be an intelligence place, essentially, where all these people hang out and intermingle, essentially. I mean, and it is treasonous, dude, right? You're asking a foreign nation to have their intelligence people spy on our candidates. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that. Doesn't get much worse. And
Nope.
and dude, there was another guy. That's why I was wondering. I don't know if it was Danchenko, but there was another guy that they were looking for, or who was missing for a couple of years at the time. And you know when they end up finding him, dude was living in D.C. the whole time. And I probably got the name wrong. I don't know if it was Danchenko or whatever, but it was one of those Russian-sounding names for sure. But yeah, dude, this whole thing.
I forget his name.
Yeah, and do you remember they had so you had people out of Italy that were getting involved in this stuff. You had people out of the UK, clearly we know that now, out of Australia as well. Who else was involved within this stuff? I mean, and this is just Crossfire Hurricane. You know, we had Alexander Downer, and then the people that were in Christopher Steele, right? Christopher Steele from Fusion GPS and all that was mixing up with Nellie Orr, whose husband was number 3 in the DOJ, the Associate Attorney General Bruce Orr, which we got some good information on Nellie because we were told that she's essentially an operator, right?
Yeah. I think Orr was an informant now. I think it was one of them, the husband probably.
Yeah,
And
the
the
cooperating
Q-post.
witness.
Yeah.
Power removed. That's what I think a lot of people forget about this. Power removed. How many do we have here, guys? I mean, there's a bunch of them, right? Power removed. Fired and
Cooperating
forced.
with.
Yeah, lots of them right here. So as you go down here, James Baker, General Counsel, fired. Bill Priestap, he was the Director of Counterintelligence. He was Peter Strzok's boss. He was a cooperating witness. Peter Strzok, fired, it says here. But I think later, didn't they say he was cooperating as well?
Yeah.
Lisa Page, Forston, fired. Mike Corton, fired. All these people. And then a lot of cooperating as well.
Another important point I think we got to take away from this is Matt Gaetz is basically saying, without saying it, is the FISA. Is that's how they're able to create this lie. Now, you know, we've talked about this. There's a FISA declass, and that's when the storm arrives. I think we're getting possibly to that point where we find out who's approving these investigations and who, you know, we all know that it was Obama, but is there a surprise or something? But they seem to be taking very meticulous time to get there. So there has to be something going on here.
Well, they're asking about FISA, and actually here I got something for you. Our good friend here. Let's see. Here we go. Ding, ding. Let's see if this just plays immediately. Face the Nation, old flimsy.
Bill Pulte went after the president's perceived political enemies and is accused of using private mortgage data and weaponizing it. Mark Warner told us on this program last week, because he's so ignorant, he could do damage. He's on the job right now. Is he a risk?
Well, yeah, I'm fine right now, but I won't be fine much longer if we don't get FISA up and running. And I think Clayton's the perfect pick. Clayton has got the confidence of both sides. Yeah. Let's get him in a job that really matters. And I thought he was an outstanding choice by President Trump, and let's get this back on track. We can't, you know, we gotta realize that there are people who want to blow us all up and kill us, and they're coming if we don't stop them. And if we don't get Iran in a box, we're in our trouble. So let's do it. Let's stop.
She's trying to get him off the phone, and he's just like, "Yeah, we're gonna keep going." He's like, "Yeah, I got to wrap." He's like, "Yeah, we need to." But dude, you're talking about Pulte, and then they're talking about Clayton as well there. So. He's on the job. Is he a risk?
Pulte in there because Trump was like, "What are they hiding?" That they like Clayton because he's one of the boys. You know, he seems to know the gig. Is he going to continue the cover up? I'd hope not, but I still don't really trust Lindsey Graham and what he says. Right in that interview, kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
No, he's always rubbing me the wrong way. But I think he's basically healed, or Trump's brought him to heal.
He is a corporate attorney. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
BS, law clerk, Sullivan and Cromwell, and then he was the SEC chairman, 2017 to 2020, and brought in by President Trump. Post SEC U.S. attorney. So he also 2025 jumped in.
Yeah, he's out of the Southern District of New York, which is a good thing. It connects everything else.
Yeah, where all that stuff is, the Epstein stuff, and all, as you see here, indictment of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, drug trafficking, gun violence gangs, da-da-da-da. He has a strong Wall Street and corporate background with regulatory and limited recent prosecutorial experience.
He sounds like the guy from that resume.
But yeah, and Pulte, though, I think, would be good because, he has that data, right? And so he can look into the mortgage data as well. And we know that there's been a lot of issues with mortgage fraud, right? That a lot of these...
Yeah, and then what's a RICO case involve?
Everything.
Fraud. Money laundering is fraud. So it's I think they're connecting more dots. I don't know if it involves sharing and putting together, tallying information. But
True.
That would possibly be a very good thing that they're doing.
Let's see. Stay away. Debbie says, "Don't let them rub you." How did you guys enjoy that Q stuff earlier? That was just absolutely great. D Starboy, Flimsy Graham wants to rub you both in the wrong way. Yeah, he's. I don't think he's ever been married, has he? I think he's a little. He maybe likes the boys a little too much. Maybe.
That's the word.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Why don't you come on, sit down with old Lindsay here. Have a seat, my boy.
The word is he's just been compromised, and he was like John McCain's best friend, and we know that John McCain had done some treasonous stuff with terrorists and also with our elections, as we pointed out last week.
Yes.
Him and Nancy Pelosi were involved in loosening the money ties behind politics, which is unraveled into a complete shit show.
Yeah, and what did he actually mention something in here too? What the heck was it? Oh, it's gonna piss me off that I'm not gonna remember right now. Oh God, yeah, it'll come back to me in about 30 seconds. But Ibrahim Khaldoon Hilmi is charged with one of the biggest Medicaid or Medicare scams in history, allegedly. All right, you know how that goes. Orchestrating a massive $3.7 billion scheme to defraud Medicare. He's been on the run since May of 25, but we got him. Thanks to outstanding work from FBI Miami, Justice Department, and our partners in Turkey. Hilmi was apprehended overseas after a foreign transfer of custody back in the United States to face justice. This is yet another massive win for this FBI's war on fraudsters with the White House task force led by VP Vance, and a monumental victory for the Trump administration, showing that any criminal actor who steals from the American taxpayer will be caught no matter where they try to hide. Special thanks to Ambassador Tom Barak, who continues to be an invaluable partner to us. This case would not have been accomplished without his tireless work. So, $3.8 billion in fraud. Hiding in Turkey. This turkey's hiding in Turkey. And I guess these are undercovers because they don't want to show their faces there. Like a big dude, too. But, dude, how much fraud have we been seeing in the last... I mean, just in the last month, what we've been covering, I mean, they gotta be into the trillions by now. I mean, there's so much fraud. It's just... It's amazing to me at this point, dude. It really is. I'm just happy that they're getting more and more of it lately.
I mean, we want to talk about the USAID thing with Benz. That's pretty interesting.
You got that at the bottom there, or close to the bottom, I think.
I just search Benz, maybe.
I got you. Yeah,
there's two of them.
There's so much, dude. It's just so much fraud that it's coming out of our ears at this point.
Ben's covered two things. One's with the USAID and Obama, and then the other one's with Bitcoin and Epstein and Larry Summers. So.
I don't think he. Well, remember that dude. If you knew who had Bitcoin, you'd fucking run.
Yeah, Pena. Yeah.
Let me see.
Dan Pena. It's right here.
PSYOPs explained. Okay, let me get to this one to the bottom here. Come on, stop it. There we go. All right. Bing. Listen to a little bit of Michael Benz is here.
This was a scandal during the Obama USAID era. Now, we were running a number of rogue USAID operations in Cuba at the time. By the way, I have to say for the record, I'm no fan of the Cuban government. I'm not even weighing in on whether it's the right or wrong thing to do, in terms of regime change there or, liberating people there from autocratic excess by that government. I'm simply showing the American people where your tax dollars are going and how these things are structured in order to systematically fool you and to fool Congress and to fool the White House. So, for example, this is, and I'll show a couple other things in a second here. But so this is Zunzaneo. So if you just scroll for a second, we'll start with this, right? So it was an online social media. Just scroll up 1 second. We'll start at the top here. It was an online social networking microblogging service created by USAID and marketed to Cuban users. This was a Twitter knockoff. See, the background of this is 2009, 2014, that period. The State Department and USAID were gangbusters gung-ho on the promise of Arab Spring-style social media revolutions to topple other governments. The Arab Spring was a Facebook revolution and a Twitter revolution. USAID pumped $1.2 billion in, and we sponsored these activist groups and these civil society organizations to learn how to use Facebook, learn how to use Twitter, learn how to use hashtags, learn how to coordinate street protests so that everyone knows where to go, what street to show up on, what kind of slogans to use in order to create the pro-democracy predicate for it. But the problem was at the time Cuba did not allow U.S. social media in. So they said, so they're not allowing Twitter in. How can we get a Twitter there, but without calling it Twitter and without making it look like it's coming from the U.S.? So what they did is they took the exact same thing as Twitter, same user interface, same like and retweet button. Zunzaneo is the Cuban slang word for hummingbird. So it means it's bird. It was the Twitter bird, the whole thing. But the whole trick about it was you have to make it look like it's coming from the Cubans if you're going to do this operation. So what you'll see is it began running, so this is 2010, this is right during the Arab Spring, and what you'll see is they took funds, millions of dollars of funds that were concealed as humanitarian funds designated for Pakistan. Now, I don't know if Joe or the audience, if you looked at a map lately, but Pakistan is not exactly the next door neighbor of Cuba. Right. So, and this is the Wikipedia whitewashing, and we can get into the deeper layers of this, but contractors funded by USAID, I should note, the main contractor was Creative Associates International, who's a frequent one. It's CAI, not CIA, I promise. So they concealed in the budget from Senate, from Congress, from the White House National Security Council, they said that these were humanitarian funds for Pakistan. And then they ran that to their contractor, CAI, to, quote, set up a Byzantine system of front companies using Cayman Islands bank accounts and recruiting unsuspecting business executives who would not be told of the company's ties to the U.S. government, according to the AP. The private companies like Creative Associates International designed the network. The idea arose after they were given 500,000 stolen Cuban cell phones that were available on the black market. And then what you'll see if you scroll down is, the network, dubbed the Cuban Twitter, reached about 60,000 Cuban subscribers. The initiative appears to also have had a surveillance dimension, allowing a, quote, vast database of Cuban Zunzaneo subscribers, including gender, age, and receptiveness and political tendencies to be built, with the Associated Press noting such data could be used in the future for political purposes. By the way, these are all quotes from the internal documents, and we can go through that. The data would then be used for micro-targeting efforts towards anti- and pro-government users in Cuba. The developers aim to at first used non-controversial content such as sports and music and hurricane updates, by the way. They used hurricane updates in the internal things. Basically a humanitarian front that if you sign up to this app, you'll know about natural disasters in the area. Meanwhile, what was the plan the whole time? Once they built up enough subscribers, they would begin to introduce political messages through social bots and encourage dissent in this astroturfing. There's a great Guardian write-up on this. If you go to...
Dude, they had an absolute system of this stuff working in lockstep with each other. And, oh, well, it's going to go for this, but it really isn't. And then they're lying to everybody about it. And that really ticked them off once they started with this Doge, program, as far as having people start looking into this stuff. And I think, like you were saying before, like once they start running AI through this stuff, it's going to be more and more difficult for them to hide this stuff going forward.
Yeah, 100%, 1,000,000%. That's why a lot of them didn't want it to happen, and they thought they would be getting away with it scot-free. But money doesn't lie, and you always follow the money, as we know.
A lot of stuff out of Cuba too, guys. There's gonna be something.
I think we're gonna see how well Iran gets treated by us in rebuilding, and I think Cuba should just jump aboard right away.
They also have their deal.
I think that's a possible. I think it's a possible plan because I think Cuba's doomed to fail if it's not already failed, and the people are desperate.
Yeah, they're hurting, and there in Cuba and Iran, you have, I don't know how large the group is in Cuba, but similar to Iran, where they have what they call the Immortal Guard, which are apparently the people that are they're waiting for essentially a go code. Maybe it was Ronald McDonald, who knows, but they're waiting for a go code essentially, and that's when they, who are already armed, are going to go out and start taking out the IRGC, or at least that's what, the guy from 2C TV has been saying, that essentially that's the plan. But there's a lot of people out of Cuba, and dude, did you know that the Cubans have one of the best intelligence in the world as well?
I'm sure. I mean, I didn't know that. I just assumed they had a pretty good one, considering they were running, they were in cahoots with Venezuela, I think, inside Maduro's, cabinet. So, I didn't know how deep it ran, and it is running deep, which I think is being corrected as we speak, because didn't Colombia get a Trump-supporting president yesterday?
Yes, they did. New Colombian president.
Again, showing that the elections seem to be functioning much better. And they aren't cheating as much. So is it not just the United States, but globally? And if you look at a map, I think I saw of the Western Hemisphere, North America, Central and South America, it's all red now. Ever since we've gotten rid of all these U.S. aid and all this NGO stuff, I think Tim Burchett's finally, he's introduced a bill to get rid of all NGOs in the United States. Well, NGOs are just an arm of United Nations, and we know how they function. They're globalists. They're not nationalists like we are. And each nation's sovereign and separate, and they have their own personality, but they can work together in a peaceful manner. That's how it should be.
La Colombianos.
Yeah, so I'll let you take it from.
It says Senator Marco Rubio has just spoken with Colombia President-elect Abelardo de la Espriella. Oh boy.
Officially, Tigre, the tiger.
Is he? Officially recognizing him as the country's next leader. El Tigre. Okay. President Petro will try and fail to override the election results. Socialists are livid tonight. Rubio says, just spoke to Colombian President-elect Espriella to congratulate him on his electoral victory. The Trump administration looks forward to working closely with your incoming administration to advance regional security cooperation and illegal immigration to the United States and strengthen our economic ties. Colombia's best days are ahead. Trump-endorsed wins. Booms.
Just shows you how powerful President Trump's endorsements are, and his word globally now. People see the change and they want it. So
they want to get involved with it.
People are a huge part of this equation. That's why, Q said that there's got to be a separation between, the Trump and Q group and the deep state and the people. And the people are the biggest factor in all this. So the more people that are favoring Trump and MAGA and country patriotism, it's not based around socialism or communism. They're voting, and their votes counting now correctly. And before, it was probably being manipulated and controlled. So, and this is great news.
It's huge, dude. And a lot of talk today about the reflecting pool. I just thought it was pretty funny. And dude, I can't believe that the people are actually like defending it. And my ex coworker basically was saying, essentially, Mr. Contradiction himself. He plays a post where Trump says, if you had a knife, you couldn't even cut into it. And then them saying, well, they cut into the reflecting pool with a knife. And he's like, Mr. Contradicting. And I'm like, so you're defending people ruining what your tax money pays for. Like, seriously?
What an idiot. It's like, why would it's people are lost causes. Wow. But there's been at least 5 people arrested. I think there's 5 people being questioned. It's 10 years in prison. I mean, federal prison. So have fun, guys. And then, it's just for publicity, I guess. I don't know, to prove that Trump can't build things that he says he builds. Like, and then you show that it's been vandalized and proven. Wow.
Dude, I mean, and what was the thing earlier? I had actually sent it. I sent it to my buddy, and because he's saying basically that, hey, is anything on camera? Like, they're lying about this. So I actually sent him the clip of the girl. She's like, what does she say? You're wasting money staring at algae or staring at stupid whatever. And essentially, like, I just can't believe that people would even do stuff like this. Like, well, like, what is wrong? Like, seriously, what is wrong with people that you would actually do this?
Shows you how desperate they are. They're just very desperate, and they're on the hook. They know that you can tell that they have to be paid, because they have a camera there. The person holding the camera is just as guilty necessarily as the people holding those signs and wearing those stupid T-shirts and drawing publicity towards this. So, no offense to the person here on Twitter, but just in general, I don't like propagating this up too much, because it kind of puts fuel in it. Negative publicity can be positive publicity to these people. You there, Space Shot? Did you mute?
Hey, Space Mute. It's been a while. Space Mute. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't like showing it either, but I think we have to because people need to see the proof of like what is really going on. So here's just really quick. And I'm pretty sure it was the same lady as earlier. Let's grow algae. Let's grow. And I think it was the same. Oh, did I maybe? We go back one here. No, it was the other one. But anyway, these people are definitely doing stuff, dude. But the idea that, like, they can't let him get one win, like, it's that bad. Like, anything he does, like, oh, he put his name on the Kennedy building. Oh, can't do that. He tries to make a reflecting pool look nice. Can't do that. Cleans up all the graffiti-ridden statues and stuff around, right? And people have a problem with that. It's gross.
I mean, in the end, it's going to get fixed, but this shows how influential propaganda can be when it's legalized, and these are paid propagandists. So you're right. And I think there's a lot of surveilling going on, and probably connecting of dots of who's behind this stuff. Because it's orchestrated. It's not like people are just like, hey, I'm gonna go stand out by the reflecting pool and cheer for Team Algae.
Yeah.
So
well, hopefully, if they do get 10 years or whatever it is, but it's just it's like that. I keep
and it
using
could be them marketing themselves as an activist to be paid by other people to do the same sort of thing. Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, if they get 30, 10 years, 30 years, we'll see how many people want to keep going it. But it's almost like they're trying to push that narrative of like, the dude with the fake boobs on the White House lawn. They don't want to let it go. And then you have another example of it right here. This is a family-friendly pride event at an elementary school in Michigan. What do you think, dude? I mean, it's so bad they had to blurt out stuff here, and it's not just a kid's face. It's because the person's ass is sticking out in the air. I mean, this is the type of stuff that we need to absolutely get rid of. And
I thought it was already
down.
gotten rid of. So I don't know why it's still lingering. I did realize why Major League Baseball has been promoting Pride Day, and I'm really, really thankful for a couple of people and teams that have stood out against that. It's because of corporate money, and the corporations that are globalists. So you got MasterCard, you got Chevrolet, and what's the other one? There's a third company. And they're all behind this stuff, and this is like one of the like corporate kind of warfare.
Yeah, where's my link? I have a link on that
It's
one too.
Delta. Delta's the other one. So Delta's out of Atlanta, MasterCard's out of New York, and Chevrolet is out of Detroit. And guess who owns these corporations? The same groups that we always talk about for the most part. Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street Corporation is one of them, but the same parties. But Trump got rid of this DEI stuff, and you wonder how it's able to still function if it's not supposed to be legal here in the United States as corporate policy.
Right.
So I would assume Major League Baseball is going to have a class action lawsuit against them. I'm hoping, or the players union of Major League Baseball actually does something, because they actually are they're considered the strongest union in the world. And there's a book called Lord of the Realm, and explains it, and dates back to like when baseball was like first starting, and they needed lawyer representation from the owners. So it's an interesting read. Unfortunately, unions aren't good, in my opinion. They've existed, and they've gotten into politics and a lot of other things, but we'll see what happens with Major League Baseball. But they need to separate politics and this cultural crap from sports, and I think some people are standing up for it, which is nice.
Yeah, a couple guys on the Giants here. I covered this a couple days ago. But MLB has issued formal warnings, oh no, with fines up to $10,000 on the table against 3 San Francisco Giants pitchers who wore Bible scriptures on their Pride Night hats during Friday night's game against the Chicago Cubs. Florida AG, as you see posted below. Do you practice religious discrimination in Florida, MLB? And I think he said, you'll be hearing from my office. You'll be hearing from my office soon. Which is, it's ridiculous, dude. You shouldn't, again, you want to do whatever you want to do, that's fine. Don't bring it by the kids. Don't force it down people's throats. And this, in my opinion, is, would you have known it if they didn't come out and highlight it like, oh, this is your Pride hat? You may have just thought like, hey, it's a San Francisco new design or something like that. I know they always have like the orange or whatever.
I played professionally in the minors, and they would have certain days like, African American play, Negro League Day, I think it was called back in the day. And you get to wear like their old uniforms, which is really cool. But there's no reason. There's not a straight day, heterosexual day. Why do we need to have this? So, it's forcing a culture on people that just don't care about it or don't want it. We know it's an option out there in real life. People will explore it if they want to, but we don't need to pay for it. We don't need to be forced upon it. And this is just the lawfare of communism trying to sneak into America and ruin our country. So, the Major League Baseball, it's adhering to what are called ESG, environmental, social, and governance policies, and they're mandated because from the corporate sponsors. So I'm curious to see where this is going to take us. MLB has a duty, but when are they going to go for the actual people pushing it, which are the corporations and the people behind that?
I think they're waiting for a different kind of mandate. If you catch where I'm going. Wah wah wah. You're gonna love this one here.
So, yeah, it is personal. Black death has been unfortunately accepted in this country for a very long time. We had a chance 60 years ago to get at the root causes, and people mocked President Johnson. And we ended up with Richard Nixon. I'm going to work hard every day to transform this city. That's what it takes to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. I need everybody to step up. So, yeah, it is personal.
So 40 people shot, 8 people killed in Chicago over this Father's Day Juneteenth weekend. Seems like a slow weekend over there, huh? Dude, it's just bad, bro. Like, if we ever came out and said we need to have a white day, even a white day, a white month, they have Pride Month and they get Juneteenth for the African Americans, and Pride Month gets a whole month. But, all right, let's do it like this, Mac. You've heard of BET, right? Black Entertainment Television. What do you think would happen if I ever came out and I said, you know what, I want to start a new TV channel. It's called WET, White Entertainment Television. It's going to be bad dancing, bad music, and, whatever. But it would be the biggest uproar people would ever have and that anybody has ever seen, right? Because we know they flip their lids when somebody has the gall. Can you believe that a kid could actually go to school and wear a shirt that says, "All lives matter"? Oh my God, that is just so horribly racist and whatever. But dude, if we ever did anything along those lines, like, oh, we need to have a whole country was set up after white folk, and it's like, no. And
the whole thing was a psyop, and I'm looking forward to the MK Ultra congressional meeting coming up, because the government has brainwashed society long enough, and they've been using techniques to do it. We need to bring it to the forefront so people can get their head out of their asses and start actually seeing the truth, instead of, like you're saying, adopting these crazy, ideas just because they're accepted by the mainstream media or someone else says it's cool. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. And what was this? It got so bad. All right, let me just read a little bit. So hundreds of teens attacked police at a Baltimore festival, pelting officers with bottles until the city declared a civil unrest zone, and police put out a helicopter over the park. This was AFRAM, one of the biggest African-American festivals on the East Coast, celebrating its 50th year anniversary over Juneteenth weekend. Free activities for families, and around 8 p.m., roughly 100, quote, teens turned it into an all-out brawl with police, hurling bottles and anything they could find. Multiple officers were assaulted. But wait, it wasn't even the first incident that day. Hours earlier, police arrested a 17-year-old at the same festival for carrying a gun. And that is, dude, where are the parents for this stuff, dude?
A lot of these are psyops again. Like, it reminds me of Charlottesville, like people trying to cause public violence. Usually they're,
it's usually there's
a group of agitators here, and we that if it's a Juneteenth day and it's that type of festival, who's going to show up? Now, did they pay these young kids to cause agitation? That's a possibility. Civil unrest here. Baltimore is a terrible city, and they need to crack down on the corruption. Freddie Gray, that whole thing, that was an inside job as well. The district attorney's office knew about Freddie Gray being a federal informant prior to all that, and he had hurt himself in a accident prior to the video. So, again, these are happening all over the place all the time, ran by the deep state in order to create civil unrest, so they can create these social programs that say that the money's going to them when it's obviously not, and creating more problems.
And, also what happens within this stuff, it could be paid agitators, but it also could be, mob mentality, right? When you have a group of anybody, it doesn't matter. It could be a bunch of, bunch of Asian people, a bunch of white folks, whatever. Yeah. If you got let's just say we got 500 people, right? And
January 6th, we saw that.
And people just started getting out of control. And so, even if you got 500 people and then you got one corner, like 2 or 3 people start breaking out in a fight, more than likely you're going to have multiple people start jumping in and start fighting, because it's like that quote from, what's the Will Smith movie there, the Alien movie? Oh, God.
Men in Black.
Yeah, I'm going to miss it. He says...
Independent Day?
No, Men in Black. Human beings are smart, but people are stupid. Right, like groups of people are stupid, and they really are too. When you bring in the mob mentality, one person swings, and it's just like everybody starts to swing. And poor guy, did you see that dude laying on the ground? He was lifeless, right here, just being kicked around. People have no care for people's safety whatsoever, and it's just a sad thing. But more, unfortunately, what I think they need is the police. I think they need a change in policing, dude, really. Rather than doing what I call, making my quota, right? I got to get X amount of people for, I get X amount of people for speeding and X amount of tickets per month, which we see cops always on the side of the road, right? And they're not supposed to be doing that with their lights off and whatnot. But we see cops sitting on the side of the road, essentially. Where they should be is in areas like this, right? You should have a much bigger police presence out here and actually start going after the crime instead of trying to look for... Because essentially, dude, I don't know about you in your area, but here in Rhode Island, like, essentially a police officer's job in Rhode Island, because there's so little crime, they're essentially traffic cops. That's essentially what they are. They're almost every one of them is essentially just a traffic cop. And that's what they're all geared towards. They're geared towards getting that quota and that money for their city and their department. And because I've had a few friends that are cops, and they don't come out and tell them, like, you have to get X amount, but it is heavily implied to at least a couple of my buddies that, you need to write more tickets, essentially. So I feel like they need to change the way in which we have been policing at all. But I do have some good stuff for you, dude. Something that you had brought up, Vanguard and State Street and BlackRock Vanguard and this, that, and the other here. U.S. Senate has just passed legislation to block major Wall Street firms from buying American single-family homes, among other housing measures. It goes to the House before President Trump's desk. Now pass Save America Act, no more vacations or breaks. So this is part of curing that whole you will own nothing and like it type of thing, where everybody's going to have rentals because these people were buying up, multifamily homes and then basically selling them out to rentals.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about nonprofits and NGOs buying up valued property, and that's how you get inflated housing markets too. And corporations going in buying up his assets to inflate their company value, and they'll rent them out, and that also will inflate because the people aren't actually getting housing that they own, and then they're paying someone else's mortgage essentially. So I'm full on supportive of this. I'm happy that it's happening. I don't know the parameters that they have around it, but altogether, corporations don't really need to own houses unless, there was some exceptions. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, at the end of the day, this could very much help with the prices of not only
100%
house prices, but rentals as well, no?
Yeah, it'll help everything. So I think, and then you got property tax. I think Florida they just passed, so there won't be any property tax, probably for a certain housing value. Over that may be different. I don't know. They always put parameters, but we're heading in the right direction here. That's good.
Oh, hell yeah, we are. Let me see what's up with the folks in the chats. Everybody out here behaving themselves? James Kin, cops do not enforce the law of the land. They enforce policy in the form of codes and dude, that is absolutely on the money. Codes and statutes. And dude, I sat there and I saw this video on YouTube. It was years ago. This guy was able to get his get somebody to record the court case, and essentially they asked the judge because he brought up like, this is not constitutional, and the judge was like, I don't want to hear about the Constitution. And he says, well, if we're not dealing with the Constitution, what kind of law are we practicing here, Your Honor? And he said, statutory law. I'm like, what? And that's it. It's all statutory laws. And again, we as a people could get smarter, and we would all have to do it at the same time. But again, at the end of the day, you don't need a driver's license. An average person doesn't need a driver's license to travel in your automobile. If you're going to drive a motor vehicle, essentially anybody that goes and signs up to get a license for your motor vehicle is essentially telling the government that you're going to be driving something that you're going to be making money while you're doing it, essentially, right? And that's what you're signing up for, a license to drive a motor vehicle. And there's a big difference between that and traveling in your conveyance or traveling in your automobile. These are all these little things, dude, that they've kept us under their thumb for hundreds of years under, and they don't ever come out and tell people, you know what I mean? Like, they don't tell people the remedy of this. And your average police officer doesn't know the difference either. Oh, okay, yeah, you don't need a driver's license? Sure, get in the back of my cop car. That's how they're going to handle that.
Yeah, it's all very similar to paying income tax. The courts said it's a voluntary process. So I think we're with Trump, he's on the process of correcting all that, where he's making sure that the country's making enough money so we can finally get away from this system that we've been forced to live under.
Mm-hmm.
A good thing.
Yeah, definitely is.
What about Tulsi Gabbard declassing Fauci?
Dude, that's, monstrous. And apparently that was her last day out.
Don't you find it interesting? Hunter Biden was on social media before all that, right before, and Hunter Biden's directly involved in that. Metabiota and Harvest, Bohai, which worked with the CCP. So, I think Promethean Action put out Q's actually, and a lot of people have been behind Q, have been covering this for a long time. I think Marco Polo put together a really big piece on this, and I learned a lot from that. Where our media is not covering their faults. They won't go back and correct them right now. Why isn't Fauci in the news? I think it's treasonous. President Trump mentioned something today about New York Times committing treason. I think what they're doing right now in the media is treasonous.
It is.
I think they need to speed it up and get to it and holding these people accountable, because we're getting up to midterms and we need to set the record straight before it gets too late.
Yeah, and I'm not going to play this, but I'm going to play maybe 30 seconds of this, and I'm going to share the link, because what she dropped this week I thought was a good video. Definitely good and stuff, and lots of good information in here. But dude, you remember this one with this outfit? This was the jammy. So I'm going to share this out with you guys. And basically what this does, it says, Tulsi Gabbard masterfully laid out every step in Obama's Russia collusion hoax. Every minute of this is worth watching. So remember, this one is going back to, I want to say summer of 2025, just so we're clear. And again, we're not playing for a full 10 minutes here.
I'm going to go over the key findings from the House Intelligence Report, which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not show any preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department.
Yeah, we don't need to listen to the rest, but dude, this was one of my favorite ones, and I always remember it just because she's wearing that white outfit. Very reminiscent of X-Men. What was it? The one that Halle Berry played? Yeah, Storm. But dude, that's huge, and I think as much as we cover this stuff, I think it gets lost on how big of an undertaking this was. And, again, I can't say it enough that these people need to be made an example of, to the point where nobody will ever even consider doing something like this again, because this is the worst of the worst. It is treason at many, many different levels. And, it's coming, dude. Slower than we wanted, but they had to be doing it at a speed in which it could also wake up, people in the United States and the rest of the world as well. So it definitely needed to be this way. Unfortunately, of course, we would have wanted it a little bit faster. Excuse me. You hear any good news out of UK? Dude, this is so funny. I put a little quote. I don't know if you saw it earlier, but I put a quote into the chat before the show because I was like, dude, did he really go there? Listen to the way he poses, the way he was brought into government. Such a slime ball
to this guy. Yeah.
Such a slime ball. But listen to what he is basically like. Hey, I got it like this. What do you want me to do?
6 years ago, I inherited a Labour Party that was politically, financially, and morally bankrupt. I was told time and time again that my party was finished, that we were consigned to history, that a majority at the general election, let alone a landslide majority, was impossible. But we proved those people wrong, because we changed our party, ripping out the poison of anti-Semitism, restoring trust on the economy, defence and national security, and becoming a party that once again stood proudly with, not against, our national flag. The hard work of change was with a singular purpose, not power for power's sake, but to change Britain for the better. To build a fairer country with dignity and respect, where everyone is seen, everyone is valued, wealth and opportunity for all, not just the privileged few.
Oh my God, dude. So check this out. Over the past 2 years, here's a quick breakdown per Benny Johnson, allowed an Islamic third world invasion of the UK and destruction of Western civilization, increased government censorship, made it illegal to criticize the government online, restricted religious freedoms for Christians, ostracized white people as racist and bigots, contributed to a large-scale government cover-up of Pakistani rape gangs, and the list goes on and on. He's leaving his party just as he found it, politically, financially, and morally bankrupt. Goodbye, Keir. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Dude, what a just slime ball of... did he really do anything other than allow your country to just get smushed. Ugh, so gross.
Yeah, good riddance. I mean, we'll see who replaces him. Usually it's another fool, but Trump seemed to have forced that hand. I don't know why, but he called it like the night before. It was like Keir Starmer will resign. So
really,
yeah, I think there's some serious things going on behind the scenes. I don't know if it has to do with the black hats repositioning themselves or the white hats taking over, and bringing some clarity back to England. We shall see, though. I'm hoping that England gets their country back because it's been totally obliterated by this immigration policy crap.
Dude, is Trump the taking over for Johnny Carson as the new Swami? 9:59 a.m. yesterday morning. Keir Starmer will resign as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He failed badly on two very important subjects, immigration and energy. Open North Sea oil. I wish him well. President DJT. Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, he's definitely tapped in. And again, we say, do the Patriots, are they in control? I would say certainly, right? And then what really locked it in for me, dude, was over the summer where we had that Prince Andrew being arrested on his 66th birthday by 6 police officers or whatever the heck it was. Happened to be 666 days after the horses that were appearing to look like they were strewn with blood all over them were let loose. That, for me, was like, okay, that's worldwide control. And that's huge, dude. So, yeah, President Trump is definitely keyed in with whatever's going on here. But called it a day ahead of time, dude. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Did you see this, dude? Our buddy Kirill Dmitriev, back on June 10th, says, as you prepare contact with humanity, please show your omnipotence and goodness by convincing Keir Starmer to resign. No abductions or probing. Just have him understand what people think of him, and then he can give hope to Western civilization by resigning. And then, because he's responding to Rep Luna, who's saying, your people are getting brutally murdered, and you're literally doing nothing. And then today he came back with, dear aliens, thank you for showing your omnipotence and convincing him to resign within 2 weeks of the request. Can you do Mertz next? His ratings are worse. He destroys civilization through warmongering, immigration, and bad energy and economic decisions. What do you think of that, dude? Funny.
I think it's funny. Yeah. One of the reasons why he might have been really forced out was that new report that came out. Just put in the chat. Rupert Lowe's rape gang inquiry reports exposes decades of institutional failures.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, sexual crime been documented in at least 149 UK districts. I'll let you take it and read from here.
God,
this is wild. So this could also be a huge portion of it, and this is great news that they called this out, and I think they're going to be putting an end to it. But go ahead.
Take a little read of this here. Independent MP Rupert Lowe unveiled a harrowing 219-page independent report Tuesday detailing the systematic sexual exploitation, oh my goodness, of at least 250,000 young, mostly white British girls by predominantly Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs since the 1950s. In a video on X, Lowe described the crimes as pure, driven, unfettered evil. The mass rape of vulnerable working-class white girls by gangs of primarily Pakistani Muslim men is pure, unfettered evil. Our report outlines in great detail what has happened, why it happened, and what we need to do to stop it from happening again. The survivor-led rape gang inquiry, funded by over 20,000 public donation, compiles chilling testimonies from victims, whistleblowers, and experts. It shows documentation of coordinated networks that have been operating in at least 149 local authority districts, which equals nearly 40% of the UK, involving drugging, gang you-know-what, trafficking, torture, blackmail via recordings, and forced pregnancies. The inquiry says perpetrators, overwhelmingly men of Muslim, primarily Pakistani heritage, exploited vulnerabilities in care homes and schools with complicity from police, social services, and the National Health Services, and politicians fearing racism accusations. Oh, God. It highlights cultural and religious factors, including interpretations of Islamic doctrine enabling enmity toward non-Muslims, and criticizes post-war immigration policies for enabling the scandal. Lowe, in the foreword, declared Britain faces an immigration problem, not racism, and called for prosecutions, deportations, and severe penalties. Survivor Sammy Woodhouse and a panel including MPs Esther McVeigh and others led the effort after official inquiries fell short. The report outlines a series of urgent, wide-ranging recommendations to address the systemic failures that enabled grooming gangs, deliver justice for victims, and prevent future abuse, including mandatory recordings of ethno-religious patterns in child sexual exploitation, harder sentencing and penalties, including reinstituting the death penalty in extreme cases, and prioritized deportation of foreign nationals and offenders with dual citizenship. It also demands accountability from British institutions and new targeted laws for gang-based child exploitation, along with the release of the full victim testimonies. Prime Minister Keir Starmer and senior government officials had not issued any comments to the report at the time of the writing, not completely surprising as the inquiry was independent and non-statutory. Wow, that is just huge, dude. And since the 1950s, huh? Dude, that reminds me of that other case of in Germany, how they knew they put kids with pedos for 30 years or so. See if I can find it.
Yeah, it's just, this has been going on for a long time, and I think they're doing away with a lot of the networks, and UK has been really bad with it. Was it the young girl McCann that still hasn't been solved?
Yeah, that one.
But there's, obviously a 250,000 people, white girls, is crazy, and to let this go on like that just shows you complicit. They knew about it and they turned a blind eye, and I hope that they rot in hell and get arrested, at least.
Unfortunately, this is, when I put stuff in my best, material thing, it's usually meaning the worst.
Something similar is going on in America too. I had come across something where someone who adopts somebody can't be prosecuted for sex crimes or something. It was something wild, where there's like this really strange loophole and it's being exploited. And it probably goes along with what you're about to talk about that happened in Germany. And that's also happening probably in the United States. So.
It's so bad, dude. I mean, it's just so nasty. And to think that they did this stuff, dude, knowingly, right? And so we talk about it in the drops, knowingly. But this story here is from 2021. The German experiment that placed foster children with pedos. With the approval of the government, a renowned sexologist ran a dangerous program. Dude, here's my question. What are you looking for in the result of this, right? It's a renowned sexologist says, oh, hey, I got an idea. I want to do this program. All right. And so as we know, it was approved, fully approved by the government. They knew about this. The German government knew about this. So how could you, being the slime ball that you are, how could you put this forth and try to, I don't know, phrase it as anything that would be positive towards anything? Like, what is the outward result for this? Like, wait, let me put a bunch of kids with people that we know will attack them. I wonder what will happen. Like, I don't know what possible good that they could have came out with this, but they described it as a complete success. I'm just going to read one or two paragraphs here. 2017, a German man who goes by the name of Marco came across an article in a Berlin newspaper with a photograph of a professor he recognized from childhood. First thing he noticed was the man's lips. They were thin, almost non-existent, a trait that Marco had always found repellent. He was surprised to read that the professor, Helmut Kentler, had been one of the most influential sexologists in Germany. The article described a new research report that had investigated what was called the Kentler experiment. Beginning in the late 60s, he had placed neglected children in foster homes run by pedos. The experiment was authorized and financially supported by the Berlin Senate. In a report submitted to the Senate, Kentler had described it as a complete success. Marco had grown up in foster care, and his foster father had frequently taken him to Kentler's home. Now he was 34 with a 1-year-old daughter. After he read the article, he said, I just pushed it aside. I didn't react emotionally. I did what I do every day. Nothing really. I sat around in front of the computer. So they actually were doing this, and the idea that he could phrase this as a complete success, I still don't see where the payoff is here, like what the positive would be, and if that was a success,
It's to normalize, most likely to normalize that stuff.
I guess, dude, it's just
that's been an ongoing thing. I mean, I think there was some debauchery originally in Nazi Germany with this stuff as well. So I'll leave that there. But I don't know. I think it's sick people's way of normalizing it so that they can get away with it. We just witnessed, these pedophiles doing this stuff to our children. You showed a video earlier. So they're trying to normalize it with our kids because kids are very easily, swayed because they don't know any better. So it's an evil tactic. It's part of brainwashing and MK Ultra and all that stuff. So, wow.
Yeah, it's nasty. It's very, very nasty. Let me thank Mr. MacGyver here. That's funny. Mr. MacGyver dropped 2 super chats on YouTube and says, "Good evening, Patriots." Good evening to you, sir. And then he said, dropped another $2. Says, "For the coffee." And then where was the other one? I just saw another one that just said, could have sworn it said read a commercial or something. I think Debbie, intermission time. Oh, that's Debbie telling me. What you got, brother?
I forgot to mention it last week, but I'm kind of glad that it went over to this week because we got confirmation Sarah Carter and John Solomon, who were mentioned in the Q post and having knowledge behind what has been going on, at least to stick with the plan. John Solomon's leaving his post as chief and editor, and he's going to go read classified documents to be declassed to the public. I thought that was interesting, having to do with Russiagate probably and everything thereof.
Yes.
And then Sarah Carter is investigating mega tunnels for cartels. And this is the first time I've heard any journalist really cover these underground network tunnels in a long time, because this is one of the major ways that they are smuggling. And we know that the military has had recent training in underground warfare. So where this leads, I don't know, but I'm very happy to see the fact that these people are being activated, because it's following along with the Q posts. And ironically, again, Q got activated today, I would say. So,
dude, it's huge. It's so huge.
All the black pillars and the naysayers, it's a real thing. It's gotta, just because you didn't understand it doesn't mean it's not real.
Well, and yeah, people, always try to poo-poo it for a very long time here. But yeah, it is interesting, dude, and I really liked John Solomon's post there. And the only thing I can say is that he's basically going to be, is he going to be the public-facing, journalist that's going to help expose this stuff to everybody? Because that's the way it sounds to me anyway.
Yeah, and Catherine Herridge is still, we know that she was assigned to Gitmo. There hasn't been a ton of action since the new year, but we've known that since, I think, January 2026, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also covering Fauci right now. So she anything like that, it gets declassified. She's usually on it, looking into it, having anything important, and usually having to do with Q.
Oh, dude, I'm actually gonna go back about 2 or 3 shows here. Let me make sure the first time I didn't play it was with you, but I don't think it was. Let me see. Our last show would have been the 15th, so going back to the 20th here. Going back to, and I need to get your comment on this. All right, here it is. Let me see, make sure what date it is. Okay, so this is, it might have been 16th. Yeah, I might have got this with you already. I might not have, but did I play this with you last week, or did I play this with Ghost and the guys afterwards? I know I did for sure with them, but this one?
Of Israel. But it is also my job to represent the importance of Israel
All right, good.
to the United States. This is just another reminder that it is your heritage without a doubt. But Minister, it is also the heritage of the United States. Without Israel, without the Jewish Foundation, there would not be an America. We owe our very existence to what happened in this land of Israel.
And then President Trump, I'll play this as a second part that goes with Crowder, but
I saw that attack. I saw where that bomb went. Did you see what happened? That was a vicious, that was too much. You know, you can do too much also. But we've had a very effective relationship. Without us, without the United States, there would be no Israel. Without me, there would be no Israel, because no other president was willing to do what I did. If it weren't for the United States of America, with me, because Obama was the opposite, Israel would not exist right now. Israel would have been blown off the face of the earth.
Here's the truth.
All right, that part's good enough. But, dude, that we actually had Huckabee come out there and actually say that. And it's like, wait, do we need to remind him that he's a United States representative to Israel?
Something's going on with Huckabee. You know, maybe he's blackmailed, who knows. But the United States was around prior to Israel being formed, so I don't as a country, I don't like getting into the semantics of things. I just always listen to President Trump. But as far as the intentions of Huckabee, I don't know. Maybe he's just being diplomatic there. But Trump has got control of Israel and he knows what he's doing. He even said it today. And answering that Yahoo, I have the clip in here. If you want to play it?
Yeah, for sure. But dude, this is. Well, think about it this way: could this have also been a setup for the movie, like we're saying here? Because I find it interesting. On the same day that Huckabee comes out and says that, Trump says the exact opposite just shortly thereafter. So I feel like they're maybe on the same page.
I think there's just a lot of deflection going on and saving face. If you think about it, Israel could be a military arm of the United States government and do things that publicly United States couldn't put their name on. So I don't know how that they're doing the things behind the scenes in order to get rid of the deep state in each country, because it would appear that they are systematically getting rid of deep states in countries, because it's not people that we're fighting. It's actually, like the citizens aren't being fought. It's actual individuals that are controlling, the countries and the states are in. So, the dynamic between the two, I'm not sure. I just follow what Trump says, and he's proven, that he's got this whole thing under control. I'll find this thing real quick, what he says, so I don't butcher it. So 1 sec.
Yeah, take your time. I'm gonna actually take Debbie's advice quick. I'll do a little kids guide commercial while you do that quick. Just give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. This is how I'm keeping the old lights on in the house here. Let's see if I can't do one of these old kid guide deals. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, parents. Real talk for a second. America is about to hit a huge milestone. We're coming up on America's 250th birthday. That's 250 years of freedom, grit, sacrifice, and the greatest experiment in self-government the world has ever seen. This is the perfect moment to help your kids understand why this country matters, not just fireworks and hot dogs, but the real story behind it all. There's a free guide called The Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday, and it's honestly a great way to introduce kids to how America began, who the founding fathers were, what they risked, and why the ideas they fought for still matter today. This guide sends kids back to the moment when brave men decided to sign the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well they were risking their lives for freedom. It breaks it all down in a way kids can actually understand and enjoy without watering it down or turning it into boring schoolwork. And if you care about raising kids who know where this country came from and why it's worth preserving, this is something you'll want to grab. And the best part, it's completely free. With this special offer, you only need to pay $2 for shipping and handling. Head over to freeusabirthday.com. That's freeusabirthday.com. And the Kids Guide to America's 250th Birthday for your kids today. America's story matters. Make sure the next generation knows it. Boom. And boom. All right, Mr. Mac, sir. Shall I take a lookie over there on the spiel here? All right, let's do. You want me to do the first one first? The
Yeah,
Trump
there's
one?
two of them.
Right.
J.D. Vance does a good job explaining the situation, and then you'll hear Trump, his response today as well.
All right, let's do Mr. J.D.
What I will say, and this does bother me, is that you've seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal, and in some ways very personally attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world's superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world. And the second...
I agree. 100% I agree with you, JD, on that one here. How about President
Here's
Trump?
another beauty. What's this one?
Well,
Here's a real beauty.
earlier
Go
today,
ahead.
the Israeli Prime Minister who said not leave. That is a sticking.
Who did he tell?
All right, so what's not being caught up on the microphone is the guy saying, Bibi Netanyahu said he will not leave Lebanon. And President Trump saying, okay, who said that?
That to you?
Said it publicly.
Well, we're going to take a look.
What would you?
Well, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do.
What would you do to make sure?
What would you?
Well, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do, but it gets solved. I'm a problem solver. I get problems solved real fast, including with Bibi. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Including with Bibi. I mean, dude, we've heard the phone call last week. Was it last week? Maybe the week before about you crazy son of a
Cool
bitch.
as a cucumber, too, in answering that.
Right?
Just cool as a cucumber.
Right? I don't see stress on his, you got to think about all the things that are going around right now in this country, right? Or for the world, essentially. All the things that are happening in the world. And does he look like he gives care one right now? He does not look at all to me.
Here's
Again,
another beauty. What's this one?
I'm just muting the sound here. I mean, does this look like a guy who's running a war on one phase and dealing with all this fraud on another? He doesn't look like a guy, who's worried or stressed out in any way, shape, or form, as far as I can see, dude. And I think that's a good plan. Like you said, follow President Trump and what he's doing. And why won't this minimize? That is just crazy.
I mean, he's probably the only person that you're seeing on TV that you actually voted for. Think about it, and J.D. Vance. Just think about it, and I've researched and paid attention to him enough to trust the man. He's got good intentions. We may not understand it all the time, but he will eventually. And yeah, so very interesting with the advancement of quantum computing and everything that's going on. There is a golden age coming. If you ever looked at a quantum computer, it's very golden looking.
Is it? It's gold. Well, we got more fraud being called out here, as if that would be a big surprise here. Katie Miller. Who's Katie Miller? Available on YouTube. Okay. Roe is the #1 stock trader in Congress. Last year, he reported 4,300 trades with $59 million in total trade volume. He also recently purchased a $9.5 million home in the D.C. area. Ro Khanna has yet another idea what could be paid for by taxing Elon. For 5% one time on Elon, you could have universal child care in America, $10 a day for every family. And, of course, Elon's coming out saying, Roe the robber. Stop asking.
He said that he was going to sue him because he said he killed, like, I don't know, a bunch of babies on camera. You see that?
Oh, yeah. I think, did I have a clip on that one?
It was
Killed
today,
1,000 babies or killed 100,000. Was it 100,000 or 10,000?
It's on his page.
Elon's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I don't know if it's under replies or.
Yeah, this is it. This is what Mac's talking about here. So it says, no, the Doge guys did not kill millions of children, and if you have participated in popularizing this disgusting, dehumanizing lie, you're going to hell for your information. So this guy says, UCLA and Lancet, okay, we're both reputable places, right? Published numbers on this. Peer-reviewed, not speculation on X. Calling a study a lie because you don't like the conclusion is how anti-vaxxers operate, and I love this guy's response. No peer-reviewed study found Elon Musk killed millions of children. The UCLA study most now are discussing, which in my opinion is biased and clearly illogical, argues millions may one day die because of U.S. aid cuts. You don't even know what you're defending. It's again, dude, right?
It's the stupidest, and they think they're clever by manipulating numbers, and it's pointless. It's so stupid.
Right?
These generation of people just need a slap in the face. It's unbelievable. I don't know where they come from. I think it comes from like the universities, and I
Big
really
time.
do. Yeah,
I mean, and yeah, these people are just the contrarians, right? Anything that's positive for President Trump, and as soon as Elon went on, quote, his side, then he became the enemy as well, right? And so, this is just, I have a heart, right? Like, I care about humans, and I don't want to see people starving to death. But at the same time, kind of like Sam Kinison, you ever hear him talk about like how we keep giving people food in Africa, and it's like, oh, why? Why do you keep giving them food there? Oh, because you can't grow. See this here? This is sand. This is going to be in 100 years? Sand, right? How about you move where the food is? But we're paying all this aid, which we've come to find out in the last 8 years or so, that a very high percentage of all that aid that people give out to their good hearts to help people are going to make a bunch of older politicians rich, essentially. And it needs to change because we could all, again, I've said this numerous times and I'll probably continue to say it, we could all be living in whatever Mac decides is his utopia. He could be living in that, and I could be living in mine, and all of you guys listening could be living in your own little utopia. Everybody could have everything they wanted, but then you have to have the people that are like these clowns, that you have to have the haves and the have-nots, right? You got to have more. You got to have more with these, more than these guys, more than these guys. Always more. Mac, I don't know. I think this guy, Elon here, is just defending his own power usage here, but it says, this is NVIDIA putting out an 11-second clip. It says, water usage has been a hot topic in the AI data center world, but the numbers may surprise you. According to the Manhattan Institute, data centers use 0.2% of daily water usage in the United States, and that number has dramatically decreased in the past few years due to a new method, liquid cooling, which I'll talk about that when I'm done here. By moving to 45 degrees Celsius liquid cooling, AI factories in favorable climates can use dry coolers instead of conventional cooling tower-based systems, cutting facility cooling water use from roughly 2.6 million gallons per megawatt per year to near zero. Liquid cooling enables AI factories to be both water and energy efficient, while creating opportunities for heat reuse and dispersal to local communities, allowing these factories to become energy grid assets. So again, dude, I don't know the facts behind all this stuff, but
I've researched this, and it just seems like
that's cool though,
a
huh?
problem that has a solution that can be solved with physics. Have you ever seen I used to work in the alcohol industry, so they would have these beer taps. So you'd have a warm keg, and then you'd have a cooler, you'd have ice in it, and then you'd have all these coils inside, circling. And because there's so much distance on those coils, so you unravel those coils would be many feet, and that's what the liquid's passing through. So it's cooling the entire time. So by the time it gets out of the hot keg into the spout of the draft, it'd be cool. It'd be cold.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So
Yeah, that's what I was saying years ago. Well, not years ago. I said many months ago. I was like, well, why can't they just reuse the water and just like recool it, like instead of, because it doesn't need to be pure, does it? Or maybe it does, and they can filter it.
I'm sure it has to have some components. They've been messing around with some other things, like different types of liquids where it can be reused. I think this is a solvable and probably will be improved upon. We'll see, as time goes on, but they were saying that it was just gonna like deplete our water supply, and I think they finally become public and showed everybody what's going on with this. That's a good thing.
Oh,
you don't have to worry about the water being stolen.
Yeah. And as far as I understand it, we have a crap load of water. I think we have, isn't it one of the largest freshwater, I don't know, aquifers or whatever underneath Florida? I think they have like a huge underwater, underground,
water's
huge amount of,
everywhere.
yeah, like, and I think the same with oil. I think it's almost like a byproduct.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's not a fossil fuel. It's renewable. It just takes time. The chemical process, and everything on Earth, unless it came from outer space, it's an enclosed ecosystem. So it's self-correcting itself, like a living organism almost.
Interesting.
But
why am I seeing this post all over the place today, dude? We talked about this really quickly before we started the show. And I'm seeing this post all over the place today.
I don't know. It was someone posted it and some other people posted it again, but this was announced in April of 2026.
This is April. Yeah, 100%, because we did take a look at it, and I see Melissa Redpill here had posted it, and this other
maybe it's just a
moron.
Reminder. I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, I'm wondering. Anybody in the chat know why?
Can you ask Grok in one of these comments? Grok, when was this interview?
Here you go, Mr. in the Matrix here as well. Let's go back. It's the same post.
It's not breaking though. I don't understand that.
Yeah. When was this presser? Here we go. Oh God, I'm doing the worst typer ever. April 28th, 2026. April, May, June. So 3 months. Now we go on. And this is why I can't stand, people don't understand, show prep, dude. We have to go through, when you see 2 or 3 people posting a video like this, you're like, oh, it's got to be new then. Why would all these people be posting this stuff as new today if it wasn't?
Yeah, I looked it up earlier and like, why are they calling it breaking when it's not breaking? It's 3 months old.
Oh, dude. We never even did this one.
And then, by the way, and so remember the big guy, Joe Biden, if we're talking about Hunter Biden, Meta Biota, Rosemont Seneca, he was the man, he was the big guy behind the scenes. So we're just touching the surface on this stuff. Remember, it dribbles into the Ukraine and the corruption in the Ukraine. You know that there were biolabs that Tulsi Gabbard just exposed that were in the Ukraine. They're spread throughout the world, but this is definitely getting interesting.
I guess this is all you got to do, dude, is just put braking on everything. You can get a shitload of followers. I guess that's what I'm going to start doing.
But you were about Fauci. Fauci is a war, crimes against humanity of decades. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he was behind, Lyme disease, the ticks. I mean, the HIV pandemic that came out. These are all engineered, illnesses that came about, and it wasn't natural. So, and then what they were putting in these damn jabs.
Ugh, dude, so many people.
Yeah, it just
check this out. Check this out. 3 hours ago,
With all due respect, Senator, you're a horse's ass. You know what you're talking about, okay? With all due respect, of course.
Last week, Anthony Fauci notified us that he will not voluntarily testify before before the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, even though he had previously agreed to do so. Therefore, today, we have issued a subpoena for him to publicly testify. And looks like Miss Follow the Pen, Fauci subpoena via Senator Rand Paul, looks like July 29th, 10 a.m. Dirksen? I don't know what that means. Let me see.
Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs.
That could be a 19 or it could be a 2.
29. It's 29.
Is it? Yeah.
July 29th.
Interesting. You are hereby commanded to appear before the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs of the Senate and United States, July 29th, 2026, 10 a.m. Please testify what you may know in relation to the shit that you get out there and try to cover up, you piece of crap. Oh, dude, this is going to be epic. I wonder, they're probably not going to make it public.
Black Sharpie Follow the Pen.
Mm-hmm. What's she been up to today? 1 million followers. Good for her. She deserves to have more than that. Dude, again, it's not going away, bro. I saw this the other day, and I figure we might as well discuss it now that it repasses my eyes here. But mapping 9/11 hijackers, U.S. support network, and alleged Saudi financing. Substantial, highly relevant evidence has still not been produced in court and released publicly. I mean, dude, what's going on down in Gitmo with the cases on these guys is a whole big
I think
ruse.
it's the cover. Yeah, it's another one of those things. If you pop the top, it's going to expose the cabal.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all interconnected, and probably decades worth of these.
What does that mean?
These people.
What does Dirksen mean? Everett Dirksen? Ooh. American politician. He represented Illinois. Oh, Dirksen Senate office building, maybe? Maybe that's where he's got to go. Oh, yeah. 10 a.m. to the Durskin building would be my guess. Durskin building. Senate office building. Yep, that's where he's going to have to go testify. So I cannot wait, dude. And how do you think it's going to be when he goes in there and it comes time for Mr. Rand Paul to come up and ask him some questions? I think it's going to get a little snippy. What do you think?
Oh yeah, the whole thing's going to be a pounding. Obviously the Democrats are going to deflect, but I mean, this is going to be evidence to be held in probably court. This is going to be on a hearing, so public record, and sure it's going to be used against them
for sure. Well, how are the negotiations going over in Iran with Iran? I'm not playing the full 6 minutes of this, of course, but this is too juicy to not play again.
Fox News alert, you close it and you won't have a country. You won't even make it back to your effing country. That was the warning Trump gave the Iranians this weekend.
One more time.
Fox News alert, you close it and you won't have a country. You won't even make it back to your effing country. That was the warning Trump gave the Iranians this weekend in Switzerland after the mullahs got cute and said they closed the strait. The Iranians blamed it on Israel, saying they violated the MOU by waging war in Lebanon. More on that later. But Trump says if the Iranians don't seal this deal, we'll blow the ish out of them and then collect tolls and take 20% of their oil. Trump even told their president, quote, "You better watch his mouth or we'll take over the rest of the country." After the tongue lashing, the Iranians threatened to walk out of peace talks. But it was very different behind the scenes.
Yes, they did threaten to walk out, or at least there were social media threats that they would walk out. But we were negotiating well past 1 a.m. yesterday, so they didn't walk out. What we told the Iranians yesterday is when you guys engage in what us millennials might call trash talk, you can't expect the president of the United States not to respond and not to correct the record. So when they say things that aren't true, the president is going to respond to it. I'm going to respond to it. Americans are going to respond to it.
JD just spent 36 hours in a room negotiating with the Iranians at Lake Lucerne in the foothills of the Alps. Inside, it felt like a marathon. But there was a lot of progress, especially on nukes. Stand by for details. The strait never closed. Tanker traffic went way up. 17 million barrels sailed out Saturday. Like usual, the Iranians were bluffing.
We're doing very well with respect to the Hormuz Strait. We took in more oil yesterday than has ever gone through the strait. You probably see that we have an oil gusher. But we have two things. We have an open strait, and we have a country that will never have a nuclear weapon. Will never, ever have a nuclear weapon.
A weekend in Switzerland, and Vance is coming home with a straight peace plan.
We also wanted to make sure that we actually set up the coordination mechanism so that we could demine the Straits of Hormuz, so that when there are the conflicts that inevitably come up, we can make sure we work through them rather than that leading to escalation. And that is exactly what we did yesterday.
Well, dude, that clip just kept getting better and better to the point where I didn't even want to stop there. But, of course, my haunted computer here. But, dude, the fact that he actually said, you know, you won't even make it back to your effing country. I think this is getting spicy, but again, we didn't think this was going to be smooth sailing to the end anyway. And again, I think we know what the problem is and is going to continue to be, is that little psychopath of a country who has a couple psychopaths running that country. If you catch what I'm saying, and I think you do. Mac, are you muted?
I'm here. I think just Trump's got them on the ropes. They're just crying like little kids. Remember, they're communists, basically. So they're not used to, hearing people talk back to them, telling them what to do. So they would just execute them. So this is a little bit of a, harsh reality they're going to have to learn to get used to.
True. We'll check this out, and then I'm gonna get to your Hillary Clinton thing. That was very interesting. But dude, this right here, I think is an important point that needs to get out, right? And as much as I'm not taking sides of an Iranian dude, here is the foreign minister, I believe. Yeah, foreign minister, Islamic Republic of Iran, Aragachi. So he's one of the main players out here. So he's saying, listen, this is not a rant by some random genocidal nut job. This is a post by the national security minister of the Israeli regime. The genocidal death cult headquartered in Tel Aviv is a threat to all of humanity. It threatens all humans. Its only interest is permanent war. And listen to what this guy said here. And just really quickly, just so you know who we're dealing with, that is Ben-Gvir, this guy. Minister of National Security, Chairman of Atzman Yehut. What do you think, dude? Looks like a normal guy. Looks like he's a very jokey, very fun guy to hang around with. Not. But he says, so he comes out in a post and says, remember, the lives of his people are worth many times that of everybody else, apparently. Says, for every tear of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. All of Lebanon must burn. And just so we can, whatever, with the end of it, I told the Prime Minister, even in our private meetings, for every tear an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. Enough with the ping pong. In the Middle East, you don't win with measured responses and restraint. You need to go berserk, to obliterate, to crush the terror. That sounds like a problem to me, dude. Again, they want to turn them into, right here, obliterate.
Then again,
to
it's
crush.
just a Twitter post. So,
But still, from who it is from, though, dude. Remember, it's not some
I mean, again,
dude.
these guys do all these saber rattling. Iran does the same thing. It needs to be addressed, but the same crap that they always do on both sides.
Absolutely.
Kill you and your family and your sisters. Just like like come on. Yeah. Their trash talking needs to get a little bit better. We'll say that.
I didn't see this one in my bingo cards, brother. Let me get it set up here.
Well, she's for the Muslim Brotherhood, so
true.
Further backs her dislike of Israel.
Oh my word! Let's take a listen to this.
I don't know. This is interesting now, nonetheless.
Yeah, and dude, she looks different too. She looks a little thinner in the face for sure. I can see these bags more and these lines more. Something's not right. Always something's not right with her. But anyways, here we go.
The United States doesn't send bombers to Iran because anybody else commands it to, but it's very clear that Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, pushed and pushed Donald Trump to do this. We have an account by Maggie Haberman in the Times about meetings in the Situation Room in which, quite unusual, a foreign head of state urged the President of the United States to go to war with it against third party, against Iran. It's my understanding that when you were Secretary of State, Bibi Netanyahu made the same case. Tell me about that.
Well, you're absolutely right. When I was secretary, it was a constant, theme by Netanyahu and his then government, the then defense minister, Ehud Barak, the former prime minister. It was relentless. It was a constant push. Now, I remember...
what would he say to you?
What?
What would he say to you?
He would basically say, you need to support us in attacking Iran. And back then, this was, 2009 to the end of 2012, we had more capacity than Israel did on several fronts to do that. And so there was a constant argument that we would have. And I remember one day, I was on the phone for hours with Ehud, with Bibi, with others, and they would say things like, our planes are on the tarmac. And I'd say, well, good luck. I mean, great. Why are you doing this?
Where else would planes be other than in the air?
But on the tarmac, ready to take
I see.
off. Yes. Well, no, they'd be in the hangar, but they were on the tarmac. And you would say things.
You're saying you were being played
all the time, all the time. I mean,
by an ally that receives an enormous amount of aid.
Well, of course. And look, Bibi's been obsessed as long as I've dealt with him with two things: Iran, as you know, and his desire to normalize relations with Saudi Arabia. The first formal meeting I had with him in 2009, probably March, at the State Department, it was absolutely, how can we get normalization with Saudi Arabia, and how do we totally decapitate Iran? And he had this view that I think has become very clear in his, dealings with Trump. Number one, decapitate the regime, it will fall. Number two, do enough bombing against enough critical infrastructure, try to, disable the military insofar as possible, the people will rise up. And that was just never our read about what was going to happen, in part because This is a ruthless, theocratic regime that, at least at the top levels, the clerical level, has a kind of apocalyptic view of their own importance in the struggle against Israel, the United States, the West, their Sunni neighbors, you know, the whole map that they look at. And they are also a regime that learned, sadly, a lesson from the overthrow of the Shah. There's a lot of, you know, analysis about why the Shah was finally deposed, but one of the arguments is, at the end, he would not murder his people. He would not order the mass murder of the demonstrators in the street. This regime has no such compunction. So if you have a regime that has already proven, as it did last year, they were willing to kill 40,000 Iranians over the protests that were going on. If you have this alliance between the clerics and the military, they have enough folks in their ranks to keep moving up and taking over. Our take on Iran was, absent an effective armed opposition, which we've never seen, and absent some kind of internal dissent, whether like a general who would say, I'm not going to tolerate, you know, this any longer.
And not the Shah's son sitting in Virginia or
Well,
Paris.
you know, I give him credit for being a voice for the aspirations of some of the Iranian people. I do give him credit. He's tried to fill a role that you cannot fill from sitting in Virginia or wherever, but he at least tried to voice the legitimate discontent of the Iranian people. But this regime is not, you know, they're not going to be toppled by, you know, appeals to their humanity, to their, better, the angels of their, you know, better nature. No, I mean, they are there to stay in power and to promote a, you know, very clear political religious agenda.
So
Lots of pressure over the years they've been given. And, well, now Donald Trump fell for it. Ha. And again, all we need to do, and she mentioned it there too, Mac, essentially, that article that Maggie Haberman wrote about Trump and Bibi, like, for me, dude, that was like a huge feather in my cap to see that, because I'm like, when have we ever seen anything along those lines where any reporter has written about the closeness in our relationship with Israel? I'd never seen that in the past. Uh-oh. Mac, you there?
Yeah, I don't know. You said you've never seen a reporter do what now?
Let me see if I can pull up. Bibi, so Hillary was talking about in there how Bibi essentially pushed Trump to attack Iran. And so they were bringing up that article in the New York Times, which I'll bring it up here. Of course, it's got a paywall, so I'm not going to be able to...
we've covered that on the show, I believe.
Yeah, we did. But, like, how huge of a story this was, like, because, again, I'd never seen this in the past, how Trump took the U.S. to war with Iran. In a series of Situation Room, Trump weighed in his instincts, and here's the inside story. How about he made the fateful decision? And it's all about, essentially, U.S. and Israeli blah, 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 right? Gathered in the cabinet room. And Mr. Netanyahu did this, that, and the other. So essentially, they're out here, and they're outing the whole U.S.-Israeli connection, which I've never in history had seen that before. So I'm looking at it the opposite is the way that these people wanted it put out there. Like, they needed that neon blinking light to at least have that narrative pushed out to the public is the way I see it. Let me see.
Yeah. It just sounds like she's writing a story. I don't know. It's reads more like a novel.
Reads more like a novel.
So it's stupid.
Same old narrative. Let's see here. We got the this one here. This one? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
This is huge, dude. I definitely like
When
this.
it comes to influence, why should, Americans care or be concerned about foreign influence on social media and with social media personalities?
Well, first of all, you saw my line of questioning the other day with Secretary Rubio. He came to Foreign Affairs. That's my purview of jurisdiction for one of the committees that I'm on. So for those that might not know, our job in Congress is not just voting and writing legislation or engaging in the election process. It is all, or the legislation process, but it's also, for example, if you oversee budget, appropriations. In my purview of authority, I have Foreign Affairs, which handles everything under the purview of the State Department, so i.e. peace deals, negotiations, foreign aid, all of that, and then also to the House Oversight, which conducts the congressional investigations, usually largely focusing on public corruption, et cetera. So specifically on the foreign influence aspect, there is no question, and I think regardless of party affiliation, anyone will tell you that because of the fact that we have this very unique thing called the First Amendment here, that there are foreign countries that are engaging in using that First Amendment to launch massive psyops and propaganda campaigns against the American people. Now, there's a big difference if you just fundamentally disagree on policy. You can even look back into really the difference between Democrats and Republicans going back into the 60s. It wasn't as divided and vitriol as it is today. And what I will say is largely what's contributed to that is two things. One is social media and the lack of actual face-to-face interaction and kind of these keyboard warriors on the internet, which I'm sure, you as well as any other person who really does have a profile or following will understand what we're talking about. And then also too, the aspect of we have seen there's been evidence of bot farms. I've actually posted a lot of this, bot farms being run out of specifically China that might target specific policies or people. So like the next time you're arguing on the internet, just ensure that you're not arguing with a bot farm specifically. It does seem that the bot farms are more active on places like X that tries to drive up the engagement for certain postings. And what we're finding is that let's say that you have a position like in myself that doesn't want to continue the war in Ukraine, right? So like I've been advocating for peace, opening up the diplomatic talks, et cetera. Well, you might have, a pro war perspective on both sides, whether it's here in Washington with special interests funding the war or making money off of it, or different governments that would benefit from the war continuing. And so what they'll do is they'll take postings, they'll hit them with bot accounts in an effort to try to convince the American people that you need to continue it and here's why, thus driving up the engagement and then making it a topic of discussion when in actuality, in organic form, it's not organic.
Definitely not organic. Mac, did you get your $7,000 for your posts this week?
Never have, never will.
Damn. I'm a little upset I never at least got the offer, Like, how do they
I don't know how that happened.
Because, dude, they got to be pretty good about who they ask, right? You would have to guess that whoever they're asking, almost everybody has to say yes, or they're too scared to say anything about it. You know what I mean?
I'm sure that most of their profiles online, so they do the research, see where that person stands, see if they can approach him or her and get them to say whatever they want them by paying them.
Yeah, true.
And speaking of foreign agents, hi, Tucker Carlson.
I
what
would
did he say recently? I'm out.
Oh,
All right,
it's a
here we go. This
surprise.
is hilarious. Yeah,
Well, Mac,
surprise.
Well, Mac, what are we supposed to do with his? And dude, Bongino absolutely torched him, dude, with that little 3-minute clip he did.
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States, that puts the interests of a foreign country above those of its own citizens? It's not possible to vote for people like that, and I'm not going to. And I think I voted Republican my entire life. I worked at Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. I've been a consistent defender for 35 years of the Republican Party. I mean, very consistent defender. But there's no defending this because it's immoral, and it's exactly the opposite of what a political party in a democracy is charged with doing, which is representing its own voters, its own citizens, its own nation, and they're not doing that. So no, I'm out. And if I'm out, then I think a lot of other people are out.
Balls on that guy. Is someone inform him we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, you idiot.
Right, dude. Come like. Oh wait, if I'm out, then Mac. I mean, I don't know if I can vote for Trump this time. I did my whole life, and I did this and CNN. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, dude, what is with the tone and the way he talks? It's so, annoyingly nasty. Now this clip, dude, is also very long, so I don't know.
Yeah, this has to do with Obama's library, and it's Q's mentioned this and talked about it. Obama's, it's actually a digital library, so he doesn't own any of the documents. So a physical library usually would hold the documents because it's digital. It's not really a presidential library as we know it. And the Q post mentioned that President Trump had, I think, special forces go retrieve those digital documents from Obama, but there wasn't any talk about it in the news. And there's some more stuff. So I don't know what sequence you want to go in this, but there are some Q posts to read over to inform us about what is going on.
Yeah,
so I'll let you take it from.
Let me pop this one up really quick just for the folks here, and I'll just bring this out. I think there are I think that you had them underneath as well, but this one we got. Let me see so I can show the folks. Here we go. We got this one very early on. This was in December of 2017. So think about things that were going on that people had no idea about. This is a quote. Documents from the Obama administration have been transferred to the Barack Obama Presidential Library. You may send your request to the Obama Library. However, you should be aware that under Presidential Records Act, presidential records remain closed to the public for 5 years after an administration has left. Rated by the good guys, per POTUS, not SCOTUS. Shockingly quiet. No leaks. Presidential libraries are put in place to retain control over self-incriminating classified document releases. Scam. Review the law. What is different regarding Hussein's presidential library? Who controls? These people are really stupid. Who is? Is it Nara?
I just explained it's digital. So NARA, the National Archives, they have ownership of those documents. So NARA controls them.
Let me see. Who is on the board of NARA? Didn't they put somebody
What
like
was it, Ezra Cohen Watnick?
Lisa Chambers, Arts and Crafts NARA boards. All right, I'll have to find this. Let's play a little bit of these Promethean Action ladies, which again, remember, their source of information is not Q, and not Q related at all. And I find it interesting that a lot of their information that they come up with is very in line with what we do as well. So that's why I like them, and also 2CTV.
Barack Obama's Presidential Center opened on Chicago's South Side. It cost $850 million. It began as a presidential library project. That means 16 years of American history should be there for review by historians, researchers, and you out there in the general public. But that idea got aborted very early, and it's clear why. As of now, the records of those 16 years are being hidden, the dirty parts scrubbed and withheld, particularly the ones dealing with the 2015 forward surveillance and ultimate coup against Donald Trump. The building, which Obama says he helped design, looks like an East German prison planted in the heart of Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara Boyd. My friends and I knew who Barack Obama was way back in 2008, and we exposed his crimes repeatedly from 2008 forward. Now, before I go deeper into this scandal, please hit the like button and share this video. It increases our reach on YouTube. So this isn't a presidential library, it's a cover-up. At the Thursday dedication, Valerie Jarrett, Obama's longtime manager, opened with this.
We'd also like to take a moment to recognize the original inhabitants of the land upon which we are gathered today. We honor the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations.
But she didn't apologize to the current Southside residents for stealing a beautiful and historic public park. That land became Obama's center. She didn't apologize to the Black contractors who worked on the center and got stiffed by Obama and now are in bankruptcy. Most of all, she didn't apologize to the American people for Barack Obama's attempt to steal and revise an entire 8 years of American presidential history. Now, every president since Herbert Hoover has donated their official records to the federal government, their papers, their correspondence, their decisions held by the National Archives, accessible to historians and researchers, and made available by the archives to the American public. That's what's called a presidential library. But Obama's presidential records aren't even at his center. They're at the National Archives. And through a corrupt sweetheart deal with the National Archives, Barack Obama and his foundation are determining what documents get digitized and when they get digitized or released. The Daily Beast, normally an Obama fan, calls this, and I quote, a mockery of transparency. And here's what Obama said about the building he helped design.
And it's why we designed the center not to be some lifeless mausoleum. I am too young for that. Not just a place to see Michelle's dresses, although I understand that will be the top attraction.
Dangling dong.
We wanted it to be a vibrant, living celebration of community where we can learn together and share the joys of art and music, sport, and play. Because it's in those moments that we're reminded of our common humanity and strengthen the bonds of trust that not only make our lives richer, but make our democracy stronger.
Listen to those soaring words and then look at that building again. Doesn't it remind you of the entire Obama presidency? Isn't its brutality and ugliness the truth regarding the three presidencies preceding Donald Trump's surprise 2016 victory? Bill Clinton, George Bush, and Obama. Clinton, Bush, and Joe Biden were all at the dedication ceremony yesterday, dancing and enthralled with the idea of celebrating Barack Obama. But Bill Clinton's presidency was when China was brought into the WTO and the final offshoring of America's manufacturing and industrial infrastructure began and continued. Under Bush, 9/11 inaugurated a seemingly permanent surveillance police state and the disastrous Iraq War. Barack Obama bailed out the world's speculators in 2009 on the backs of American workers and the middle class. They ended up broken, while Obama's banker friends only got richer.
Oh, yes, dude. And Mac, I was playing over a couple of those images and the drops that you had below the post, but I also clipped out this one and brought this one as well, where it says, no legal provision allows a sitting president to unilaterally, quote, seize classified documents from a former president as official presidential records automatically transfer to the custody of the National Archives and Records Administration the moment a president leaves office under the Presidential Records Act, PRA of 1978. Custody and legal ownership. The PRA establishes that presidential records are public property, not private assets, meaning the archivist of the United States assumes exclusive legal control upon the conclusion of an administration. If a former president retains official or classified documents, the Department of Justice may execute a search warrant to recover them, as occurred in August of 22 when the FBI retrieved boxes from Donald Trump's residence. But this is a law enforcement action rather than a personal seizure by the incumbent. Executive privilege and access disputes. While a former president may attempt to claim executive privilege to block access to specific records, This claim is not absolute against an incumbent president. In recent litigation, courts have upheld that a current president's determination to waive privilege and access records generally overrides a predecessor's objection. The PRA does allow for restricted public access for up to 12 years for sensitive categories like national defense secrets, but it provides mechanisms for Congress, courts, and subsequent administrations to obtain special access to those closed records.
Wouldn't that pertain to maybe a grand conspiracy as well?
I think a ding, 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 ding.
So maybe Promethean Action wasn't reading the Q posts.
Nope.
And so, NARA, National Archives, they have the rights to those documents that are digital, that is supposed to be in Obama's presidential library, but they're not. NARA's got it.
That's interesting, ain't it? That's wetty interesting. Let's see.
So
Public
hopefully that maybe gets corrected, or they look into it at least, and get back to us, because I'm pretty sure we're on the right path. I don't think Q's steered us wrong before, but we shall see.
They've not, sir. Okay. And this gentleman is, what the hell? This gentleman is a good follow, and this one I just have to pull up to show you guys. This is crazy. Did he he reposted this as well? This is nuts, dude. Wait till you see this. What the hell? Public servant, vice chair of the Public D-Class Board, previously Department of Defense, one and only account, personal musing. So remember, Ezra A. Cohen or Ezra Cohen Watnick, his only online account is this one right here on X. So he put out, I think, the national anthem here. Dude did a really good rendition of it, but look at this, dude. Unitree was recently designated as a Chinese military company, and its products are a threat to our national security. Yet, here is Amazon selling a Unitree robot in America. We need Chairman Rep. Moulinar's GUARD Act to stop this threat and support American robotics. Dude, what do you think? The Unitree G1 humanoid robot. You going to get one? Female?
But I did see that
female?
post. It was interesting.
Amazon. Here we go. Hold on. Dude, what can this thing do, you think? Let's see.
I think it's the one that's been shown on streams before. It's the same one. What's his name? Kai Sinet, I think, had one.
Oh, did he end up purchasing one? Oh, my.
Yeah, so he had one, and it was actually a CCP device. So guess he's getting paid by? Hey, look, I'm going to say it and take it for what y'all want, but those streamers are money laundering. I don't, the big ones that
Yeah.
they're like Mr. Beast and all that stuff. There's a scheme behind that. I can't put my exact fingers on it, but there's some scheming going.
Oh, big time, dude. But let's see. So sleek and durable design, standing at 132 centimeters. How is that in what is that in height? In feet? I don't know. How tall is 132 centimeters in feet? Only approximately 35 kilograms. So that's what, 75 pounds? A little bit less than 75 pounds. Let's see. Ding. Let's see. How tall is 132 centimeters in feet and inches?
4 feet, 0.33.
Yeah, it's the same 4'4", but yeah. So 4'4", 4'3", 4'4". You can get yourself a robot for $17,000. What does it do? It features a full joint, hollow internal wiring system, dual encoders, high flexibility. What can it do though? That's what people like. What you need to do on here is like, what can this thing do? Right? You know what I mean? Like, you can do your groceries. Can it do your dishes? Or is it just somebody that's going to chat with you back and forth? Like, this is not telling me anything. So this is where we're heading, guys and gals out there. All right, Mr. Mac, I think it's high time. We're going to wrap this circus up for this evening and see what tomorrow has to offer us. It's getting so wild out there, and today was a absolute breath of fresh air to see what they posted out there with the with the Q stuff. That's just absolutely bananas to me, and I'm loving it. Holy schnapples! I don't know if
he's off.
I don't know if D Starboy is glitching over here or if my computer's glitching. But it looks like he just gifted out like 15 subs to the channel. Or it might be doing it. It might be listing him twice or 3 times. Jeez, I don't know. Let me just make sure I refresh this here. Ding, ding, ding. Damn. Thank you, D Starboy. I appreciate that, brother. It looks like he gifted out 5 subscriptions to the channel, and then another 5, and then another 5. So 15 subscriptions out to the channel for Mr. D Starboy. Yeah. And dude, he's the one that turned me on to that PGA Tour golf dude that I was telling you about. It's absolutely a blast. And actually, the last time I got to play was last time with him. The last time I played any video game was about 2 weeks ago. But definitely a blast out there for sure. But let me go over to the old foxhole, Pilled, and thank some folks over there on our way out the door. Sean Joe, Space Squad founding member over here with a cookie, and then another cookie from Sean Joe, and then another cookie from Sean Joe. Did I mention I'm on a diet? But then another cookie from Sean Joe, and 36 pounds, by the way, Mac, at my last weigh-in. I got a new scale at the house, and I have it here, and I'm going to be doing a weigh-in every week going forward from now on, so... Yeah, definitely loving that. So thank you, Sean Joe, with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cookies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 cookies to start us off with. And then Jucani with the shades says, God bless. And right back at you, God bless to you. Chatty KC with the cookie says, late to the show, but follow the truth. Thank you very much for that, Chatty KC. And then Sean Joe came in with a cookie and then followed by another cookie. Appreciate you, brother. And then Norwegian Wood came in with a cookie. Says, "So it will be a so it will be a library of lies." Yeah, I mean, what are they gonna have there, dude? And Mac, you know what the funny thing is too? Is they said he goes, "Oh, I want people to go there and meet at this place, and they have a library there." And I'm like, "Well, wait, do they have to pay the $30 to get in too? If you want to just go visit the library and take a book out or whatever?" My guess is yes. Did you see the prices of everything to get in there?
No, I didn't look up any of that stuff. I have no interest to go see the garbage can at all.
You didn't want the entry costs. Let's see. And by the way, they said it was like I had a video I did yesterday. It was close to the money that he's putting into SpaceX, that Elon put into SpaceX to build the same thing over there. But here's the best part. Museum entry for the Obama Presidential Center in Chicago, Presidential Center, requires a paid, timed entry ticket with the standard adult commission costing $30 for kids for ages 3 to 11. 3 to 11, you pay $23. Dude, if you're 3 and under or under 3, you come in for free. 3 to 11, you're still paying $23, and your parents are still paying $30. And then discounted rates for Illinois residents are $26 for adults and $15 for children. Now, I can ask you that same question. How about this, Mac? If the Obama Library was 5 blocks from you and it was free, would you go?
It was free? Probably not. I don't know.
I mean,
I have no interest in Obama whatsoever. So I have an interest in him going to jail.
Yes, that I would pay some serious pay-per-view dollars for sure.
Or hung, but
yes, shot,
beggars
hung.
can't be choosers.
I'll take however I can get it. But yeah, I mean, I say that just to kind of laugh and say, like, no, I wouldn't even go if it was for free. But then you want to take a family of 3? Oh, you're paying close to $90. If you got a kid that's 3 to 11, you're paying $83.
You'll get a kick out of this. James Wood posted about the inside of Obama's library. Take a look at that. He had a nice nickname for it.
Oh God. Hold on. Did I tell you how many times have I told you by now my father went to high school with James Woods?
Yeah. That's funny.
Let me see. All right, let me get to that in 1 second. I got 3 more folks right here. Sean
Yeah,
Joe
go
with the
for it.
cookie. Sean Joe with another cookie. So 2 more cookies from Sean Joe there, and then followed up. Last but not least, Doodah Man dropped in another cookie. So I appreciate you guys out there. Doodah Man, Sean Joe, Norwegian Wood, Chatty KC, Jucani, and Sean Joe. And then, of course, over on Rumble, Rumble/YouTube, we got D Starboy. Thank you for the 15 subscriptions over there, brother. And then MacGyver for the couple of rants, super chats. And then Twisted Clown for the very funny one earlier. We're teasing them, like giving them the tip before the deep state gets effed. So, yes, very much loving that one. And I will make sure I'm releasing the scratch-ins right now. And just know, Debbie always has your back. If I do forget, which I do on a pretty regular basis, she got your back, guys and gals out there. All right, what do we call this? Oh, no. We'll actually do it like this. All right, here we go. Wait, what the heck?
He deleted it. I didn't know that. That's funny.
Come on, are you serious? How long ago was it?
It was on the 20th, a few days ago. Maybe he redid it. I don't know.
I'm looking through the media here. Yeah, no,
The
it looks like...
screenshot's real.
All right, let me pull that one back up then. Ding, ding. Here we go. Bing. There you go. It says the cat's ass room in the Obama Center. What the freak? What is that?
It looks like the inside of a pyramid without the top. The capstone.
Interesting.
But
and what's with the?
But it does
shark?
look like our monkey's butt.
What's with the shart all over the place? It's like it's leaking or something. They meant that to be like that?
Apparently.
Oh, that is just awful, dude. Okay. I mean, dude, it's nasty. The whole thing. I mean, whoa, that wasn't supposed to be that big. Let me do this one here. Transform, fit to screen. Let's see what happens this time. And it doesn't go on at all. All right. Well, great show, Mac. As usual, always a blast here, dude. And again, I cannot say enough great things about the big shot in the arm. That the fun that the administration had with the normies out there and the deep staters. Really, really enjoyed it. It was definitely a breath of fresh air to see that. And then they're basically kind of LARPing themselves a little bit and then doing the quantum thing. But then coming out and posting that post that looks, identical, almost identical to a Q post was the capstone for me. That was juicy, dude. I love that. So any parting words on the way out the door, my boy? My man, my boy, whatever.
Great show. Looking forward to another week. But yeah, there's a couple. There was a interview that I found interesting. I just ran into. It was like Billy Carson's, and there was a guy that I think he's a Freemason, possibly a Knights Templar. They have an interview about the Emerald Tablets, and there's a lot of controversy on whether or not they're real or not. Yeah. And there's actually some historic relevance to them. And they actually talk about it. He explains the Templars started, I think, in the Crusades. And he explains the story behind that. So that was pretty interesting. We didn't get to it, but that's fine. That would be like a whole nother segment of talking about like the Emerald Tablets. If you get a chance, check them out. There is validity to them. I just don't know how much. It's one of those esoteric parts of history that's kind of been muddied by mainstream historians and so forth. So, there's a deep push for us not to uncover these truths for some reason, and it's to the point I think where they can't stop it. So I'm looking forward to finding out. But thanks to everybody that tunes in as usual. Space Shot, thanks for having me, and thanks to the mods. Great show. Give us a thumbs up if you liked what we had to say, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you on Exit 215 next week, next Monday, 7 p.m. I shall be back with, Ghost, Mike, and Armando. tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Hopefully you guys can join me there. Thank you very much to the mods as well. You greatly appreciate your help with myself and many others out there over the years, so greatly appreciated that. And yeah, I can't wait to see what the next shoe to drop is. If they're posting out Q stuff today, like, geez, who knows what's coming tomorrow. So at the end of every show, which we say and heartfully mean, we do appreciate each and every one of you wonderful world patriots out there for tuning in. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Hello, guys. Something special is happening in here. That's right, it's brackets and jackets, bringing it back for brackets and jackets, special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks, Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see, this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jacket's Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens of islands.